Chapter 26. Not, is it over? The big demon girl with pink hair, the future Shana, is still in a daze. I followed my brother and the tribe members to form a search team, and successfully found the nest of the insect monsters. Originally, they just wanted to test the strength of these insect monsters and estimate how many such monsters were in the nest. But who could have thought that the insect monster, which was originally judged to be irrational, would deliberately show weakness to the enemy and lure the big ghost tribe to go deeper. By the time they reacted, it was already too late. There was no other way. Faced with the encirclement formed by the tide of insect monsters, everyone could only bite the bullet and break out of the siege under the leadership of their elder brother. However, the insect monsters seemed to have anticipated their reaction. Kill one batch of bugs, and another batch will immediately fill the gap. There is an endless stream, as if no matter how hard you try you can never kill them all. Soon, casualties began to appear among the tribesmen. A large amount of magic power and physical strength were consumed, weapons were damaged, and the tribesmen fell one after another. For a time, the only thing the big ghosts, who had always been known for their bravery and fighting skills, could do was to fight a desperate battle. Only the number disparity between the two sides is too great. When the girl's best friend fell to protect her, Shana was even ready to die. But death did not come. Bo. Shana could never forget. What she saw at her most dangerous and desperate moment was a petite figure that fell from the sky and saved her and her best friend. She looked different from them. But there is no doubt that the blood flowing in the other person's body is the same as theirs. The other party is a ghost. This is absolutely correct. The same demon horns, the same violence and strange power as them. Move forward courageously and be invincible. That was an unparalleled bravery that Shana had never imagined before. Boom! The earth was shaking, and there was a deafening roar in my ears. Shan, who had recovered, pulled Shana away. I looked back subconsciously. What you see is a Tower of Babel made up of hundreds of magic circles stacked up continuously. The most advanced explosion magic, explosion. Breaking away from her previous memories, Shanae looked at the huge meteorite crater in front of her that seemed to be piercing through the earth. Is this really still magic? Explosion magic, so powerful. Like Shana, Shan, Benimaru and other surviving great demons were also stunned. Look over there. That is, human. As the smoke cleared, everyone could see two figures at the edge of the giant pit. One of them was the petite fellow who had just saved them. But what surprised the big ghosts was Bai Luo, who was beside Ergui. Bai Luo, they are coming. Noticing the approach of the big ghost tribe, Ergian protected Bai Luo behind him and looked at them vigilantly. Are you human? When they saw Bai Luo, they were somewhat incredulous and didn't understand how humans got here. You know, the Jura Forest has always been a paradise for monsters. Humans can only hunt low-level monsters on the edge, and no one has ever been able to go deep into here. No, not human. His eyes, that's not the color of a human. And the aura too. He should be a demon. The big ghost soon discovered Bai Luo's unusualness. His eyes were golden, and his body contained a huge amount of magic energy, a power that humans could not possess. I'm sorry, my people and I were disrespectful. As the leader of the team, Hong Wang quickly stepped forward and bowed to apologize to Bai Luo. Excuse me, was it you who cast the nuclear attack magic just now? If you mean the explosion magic, yes, it was me who cast it. Thank you very much for helping me in this time of crisis. Hearing Bai Luo's admission, Hong Wan lowered his attitude a little. We are a large ghost tribe living in the forest. May I ask who you are? My name is Bai Luo, and this child is Ergui Luo. Evil ghost? Bai Luo has a name. Upon hearing the names of Bai Luo and Ergui Luo, the big ghosts were even more shocked. They didn't expect to have the honor of meeting two named monsters. It turns out that not only Erki, but Bai Luo is also a named monster with his own name. Also, I don't know if it's an illusion. Hung Guan felt that the oppressive feeling coming from Ergian was several times stronger than it was not long ago. This feeling of oppression. Benimaru, Shan, Shana, and Sui, the demon cotters under the command of the cute king in the original work, expressed their gratitude to Erkuro for saving their lives, and their expressions became more respectful and solemn. Could it be the legendary ghost? You can't be wrong. Only a high-ranking demon like that can be so powerful. For a moment, all the surviving big ghosts showed looks of amazement and longing. Ergian is an A-level demon, and the demon is the evolved form of the big demon clan. In the world of monsters, the strong are respected. Long was stronger than all of them, had saved them, and was a high-ranking being of their bloodline. With all these factors combined, Hongwan and the others invited them without hesitation, "Please come to our village and let us repay you for your kindness in helping us in times of crisis." Forward. "Okay, sorry to bother you then." Bai Luo had no intention of refusing. He still needed the evil spirit to level up. A large ghost village with 300 people was simply amazing. "My camp in the forest just happened to be destroyed by these bugs. Have you set up camp in the forest?" "Damn bugs. It's okay. Our village is big. You can settle down here. Also, may I ask what is the relationship between Mr. Bai Luo and Lord Ergian?" The last one is what the big ghosts want to know most. They respected Bai Luo very much, because it was the young man in front of them who cast that kind of devastating nuclear magic. So not only Ergian, Bai Luo is also their savior. Of course, compared to Bai Luo, the big ghosts are still closer to Ergui Luo. "This child is my family." Bai Luo briefly explained his relationship with Ergian. He did not tell the truth, but described Eruption as a child he picked up in the wilderness. The two of them lived together in the forest, relying on each other, just like brother and sister. Bai Luo is the most important person to Peng Peng. Ergian held Bai Luo's hand at the right time to show her closeness to him. "I see." The big ghosts understood. They can understand such a relationship. Monsters with intelligence meet and live together. Although this is rare, it is not impossible. As for Bai Luo himself, there is nothing to hide about his half-blood demon identity. Humans hate half-blood demons, but in the world of demons, as long as you are strong, there is no such thing as half-blood or not. Chapter 27. In that case, why don't you just stay in our village? Hung Guan was very enthusiastic. That's how the great demon clan is. They value friendship and loyalty, and are arrogant. They disdain to use any conspiracies or tricks. They were grateful to Bai Luo and Ergui Yan for saving their lives. Of course, there is another point, which is the strength of the two. If a powerful spellcaster like Bai Luo could join the village, and if an A-level ghost like Ergui Yan were added, the strength of the village of the big ghost clan would definitely be improved by leaps and bounds. We need to think about this. Bai Luo did not agree directly, but pretended to be hesitant. "Brother, you are so rude." Seeing that Bai Luo was in a difficult situation, Zhu Cai quickly took over the conversation from his brother and said that there was no need to be so anxious and let them entertain the two of them first. "As for whether you are willing to stay, that is something you can only decide after seeing the big ghost village." "Yes, I was too anxious. Having never experienced the pain of genocide, Hung Guan is just a big fool with a generous personality." "Oh well." Bai Luo naturally would not refuse the cordial invitation from the great ghost tribe. After all, Bai Luo himself had the idea of conquering the big ghost tribe. Bai Luo has a favorable impression of the big ghost clan. He knows where the future is headed, so he doesn't want them to be destroyed at the hands of the pig-headed emperor. 300 big ghost tribes, with an average level of B. If Bai Luo could possess such a huge force, he could officially gain a foothold in the Jura Forest. Moreover, the big ghost clan has great potential. In the future, they can evolve into ghosts, or even demon ghosts and ghost kings. There was no reason for Bai Luo to leave aside such a ready-made army. In this way, Bai Luo joined the big ghost clan's team and prepared to return to the big ghost clan's village with them. Before that, the big ghost tribe had to collect the remains of their dead members. They did not blame Bai Luo's magic, which blew the bodies of the big ghosts into pieces, and many of them were simply reduced to ashes. In response, the great ghost tribe said, it might not be bad to be buried in the Jura Great Forest. Besides, there are so many insect monsters to be buried with them. The big ghost tribe takes life and death very lightly. What's more, in an emergency, one must take the necessary measures. In that critical moment, it was already good enough that Bai Luo could take action. How could he expect more? The reason for cleaning the battlefield is to determine whether there are any survivors. The result was not beyond the expectations of Hung Guan and others. The insect monster's claws and fangs contain extremely terrible toxins. Even with the physique of the big ghost tribe, they can only resist it for a short while. In this regard, Shen is very lucky to be alive. Rest in peace, everyone. Lord Bai Luo and Lord Ergui have avenged you. Not long after, under the leadership of Hung Guan, a group of great demons paid a simple tribute. Bai Luo and Ergui watched this scene. They did not participate, but just stood aside quietly, waiting for the ceremony of the Great Ghost Tribe to end. Sorry to have kept you waiting. No problem. Please follow us. Hung Guan took the lead and rushed towards the village, while Bai Luo and Ergui followed behind the team. During this time, the two girls, Shana and Shen, looked back frequently. They are very interested in eruption. However, Yigian wanted to protect Bai Luo and stayed by his side all the time, which made it impossible for the two women to find a chance to thank him. We're here. Welcome to the village of the Great Ghost Tribe. Walking out of the dense forest, Bai Luo saw a quaint village. The village is not big, and its architectural style is Japanese. Most of the houses are made of wood and are arranged on both sides of the street in a tic-tac-toe shape. Bai Luo naturally knew the reason for this situation. Bai Lao's grandfather was named Byakuya Araki, a person from another world who traveled from Japan more than 300 years ago. It is because of his influence that the Great Demon Clan uses swords as weapons and values loyalty more than the human knights in this world. The Great Ghost Clan will not submit to others. On the other hand, once they gain the loyalty of the Great Ghost Clan, they will follow them wholeheartedly. What happened? The big demons in the village noticed the return of Hung Guan and his friends early on. Their families were deeply saddened by the death of their members, and the women and children were in tears. However, there is no point in being sad. The world of monsters is not like the self-pitying world of humans. Perhaps I have already become indifferent to life and death. The big ghosts who had lost their loved ones took away their family members, or the remaining relics and remains, and buried them in the cemetery near the village. Throughout the entire process, Bai Luo did not show any dissatisfaction, but instead showed basic respect. Father. After dealing with the matter of the tribesmen who died in the battle, Hong Wan finally had time to introduce Bai Luo to his father, a red-haired ghost who was much older than Hong Wan. Thank you very much for your help, Excellency. Please accept our sincere thanks. Led by Hong Wan's father, a group of big ghosts saluted Bai Luo in unison. That's not necessary. Bai Luo waved his hand and said, I just happened to pass by, and I have a grudge against those bugs, so I helped them. Whatever. The Red Devil leader said sincerely, in such a critical situation, if you hadn't helped me, my son and daughter would have died there. Father, how long are you going to let Lord Bai Luo and Lord Ergui stand here? Shukai said, you two adults have just fought a fierce battle and followed us for such a long distance. You must be very tired. Oh, yes, yes. Like his son Benimaru, the Red Demon leader said awkwardly, I didn't think it through. Really? Zhu Cai turned around and signaled to Bai Luo and Ergui Yan, please wait for a moment, I will have someone prepare hot water for bathing. Forward. Bai Luo wanted to say that there was no need to go through so much trouble. But seeing Shukai's serious look, Bai Luo and Ergui looked at each other and had to accept it. Okay then, thank you for your help. Shana was right. The group traveled through the forest, and now the sun was about to set. It would be a lie to say that they were not tired. Rather, Shana could see that the girl's mind was indeed much more delicate than that of other big demons. Chapter 28. Hualala soon, Shanae brought the two to a slightly higher area. There is a bathhouse here. The small area used by Bai Luo and Ergui is not open to the public on weekdays. It is only used to entertain and welcome distinguished guests when they visit the village. It feels pretty good. Leaning on the edge of the bathhouse, Bai Luo moaned comfortably, how do you feel, Peng Peng? Peng Peng, it's become soft. Beside him is eruption. The child immersed his whole body in hot water, leaving only half of his head in the air. Logically speaking, the little girl should go to the women's bathhouse. But Yigian was worried about Bai Luo's safety and insisted on staying with him. There was no choice, Bai Luo had to let the little guy take a bath with him. It's not a big deal, right? There's nothing to see anyway. Not only is Yigian short, his figure is also ordinary. Apart from her delicate skin, she is just a little girl who is less than 10 years old. With Bai Luo's experience, he would not harm such a young child. At most, he would treat her as his sister. Master Bai Luo, these are the clothes for you and Miss Ergui. I left it outside. Halfway through the wash, Shana and Shen prepared the clothes for changing. Oh, thanks. Although Bai Luo has a space full of supplies to use, this is a gift from the Big Ghost Clan and it is difficult to refuse. Soon, Bai Luo and Ergian washed off their tired clothes and changed into the clothes prepared for them by the big ghost tribe. The style of this dress is a bit like a Japanese yukata. Bai Luo thought it was normal that the great ghost clan had such a style of clothing, considering their origins. Let's go. When Bai Luo walked out of the bathhouse, he saw Shina and Shen waiting there. He didn't say much, and followed the two women to the square in the center of the village to attend the banquet prepared for them by the ghost tribe. Here it comes. Is that child the legendary ghost? Even though he's so small, the amount of magic in his body is frighteningly huge. Don't you think she's cute? Hey, don't be so rude. Lord Eruption saved us all. Compared to Bai Luo, Ergui Luo is obviously more popular among the big ghosts. There's nothing we can do, it's because is a ghost. The ghost man is a legend of the great ghost clan. They haven't seen the upper demons of the great ghost clan for many years. Go ahead, Pian Pian. Bai Luo patted Ergui's back and motioned for her to show herself, show them your strength. Where's Bo? Ergian was stunned at first, but after thinking about it, she finally reacted. Bo. The girl summoned a green thorn vine stick, and behind her were several huge masks that looked like sparkling gems, shining in harmony with each other. This gorgeous and shocking scene instantly captured the hearts of all the great ghosts present. Oh! What a beautiful figure! You are indeed the legendary ghost. Is this the power of Lord Urki? For a moment, the whole village was in an uproar. But it's not over yet. Thornvine stick, explosive blow. Eruption concentrated his magic power on the thornvine stick and swung it fiercely towards the dark night sky. Boom! At some point, a beam of light woven from green, red, blue, grey, and other colors shot up into the sky and eventually blossomed into brilliant fireworks in the night. Wow! The colorful fireworks were reflected in the pupils of the young big ghost children. And more adult ghosts felt the incomparable power from Ergui's casual attack. Good, so strong. Sister is so awesome. Unlike the reserved adults, the children only know that Ergian is very powerful. So, looking at Ergian who was surrounded by children, Bai Luo signaled her not to worry about herself. Don't forget that there is a life connection between them. If one party is harmed, the other party will feel it immediately. Go ahead and have fun. After Bai Luo finished speaking, he walked towards the red ghost leader who had been waiting for a long time. That's right. Bai Luo called out to Zhu Cai who was following him. Also let me add some flavor to tonight's banquet. He opened the elf space and took out a large amount of ingredients and seasonings purchased from the Seeking world. At first, Shina refused. But Bai Luo's seasonings really exceeded the girl's expectations. The aroma and taste instantly immersed Zhu Cai in a delicious taste she had never tasted before. Especially when the girl used these seasonings on the barbecue that the big ghosts often ate, the violent aroma instantly swept the entire square. This. What's that smell? Why is it so fragrant? Is this really a barbecue? Delicious. So delicious. Is it because of this spice? It's amazing. At night, a bonfire was lit in the village to celebrate their victory over the insect monsters that were harming the forest, and also to welcome the arrival of Bai Luo and Ergui Luo. Under Bai Luo's persuasion, the returning Ergian sat together with the female great demons such as Shina and Shen. The evil spirit originated from the Japanese Momotaro legend. Its personality and habits are almost identical to those of the big demon tribe. It quickly became one of the crowd. On the other side, Bai Luo, accompanied by Hong Wan and his son, sat together with Bai Lao. Old man, you are the oldest person in the village, right? Bai Luo poured a glass of wine for the old man, then spread his hands and motioned him to taste it. He had no fear of getting hurt. With the magical skill of Life Link, fatal attacks are ineffective against Bai Luo. Even if Bai Lao used a knife to chop Bai Luo's neck, it would be converted into numerical damage and transferred to Ergui Luo. If it were before, Bai Luo would still be worried that Ergian would be exhausted to death by himself. Now with superspeed regeneration, Ergian can recover the overall life loss in minutes. This is also the reason why Bai Luo dared to sit with a sword master like Bai Lao without changing his expression. Thank you, young man. Mr. Bai picked up the wine glass with a smile, took a sip, and suddenly his eyes brightened. What a sweet and mellow drink. Even the usually calm Bai Lao couldn't help but be intoxicated by the wine that Bai Luo brought out, and he also vaguely guessed Bai Luo's origins. Precious spices, mellow wine, and that powerful strength. A reincarnation from another world. However, Mr. Bai had no ill intentions. In any case, Bai Luo saved the younger generation in their village. This favor is so heavy that it cannot be repaid. Therefore, the danger that Bai Luo imagined encountering in the big ghost village was simply impossible. The great ghost clan, who believe in loyalty and repaying favors, will never harm their benefactors. Mr. Bai Luo's kindness is something that we, the great ghost clan, cannot repay. If you are willing to settle in the village, it will be an honor for us ghosts. The Red Ghost Chief knew that Bai Luo still needed to consider, so he suggested, Mr. Bai Luo and Lord Ergui can stay at my house first. I will have someone build a house for you tomorrow. As for the future, if you want to build a new residence outside, we will do our best to help you find a suitable place. Having said that, the Red Devil Chief still hopes that Bai Luo can stay. This temporary stay was a good attempt. Then I'll trouble you. That night, Bai Luo and Ergui slept in the home of the Red Ghost Chief. Although he was in the Jura Forest, Bai Luo enjoyed the food, clothing, shelter, and transportation of the civilized world. There is no doubt that this is much more comfortable than Bai Luo building a camp from scratch. Chapter 29. Quick! Move all the stuff over here. The house must be built today. The next day, early in the morning, the ghosts, led by Hung Guan and Sui, began to build a new home for Bai Luo and Ergui. The process of building the wooden house was very quick. The big ghosts were born with extraordinary strength and could directly transform themselves into civil engineering machines. With the cooperation of dozens of people, the house for 2 people was completed in just one morning. The house is in the style of Japan's Edo period, with 2 floors and a small garden outside, where wild flowers picked by the children from the forest are planted. What do you think? Zhu Cai was sent to contact Bai Luo specifically. Whatever Bai Luo needs, he can tell Zhu Cai and they will try their best to satisfy him. Very good, I am very satisfied. Bai Luo and Ergian expressed their gratitude to Shana, and also realized the simplicity and purity of the great demon clan. If you receive a favor, you must repay it. He is efficient in doing things and generous and magnanimous, making him the best choice for making friends. Bo. And on the night when the wooden house was completed, an unexpected guest came to Bai Luo and Egui's home. The other person was wearing a green long skirt, with tender buds and branches all over her body. Her beautiful face was so stunning that even Bai Luo, who had experienced the information explosion and met countless internet celebrities, could not help but marvel at it. Fortunately, Bai Luo knew the other person's identity, so he was not immersed in the temperament and beauty displayed by the other person. On the contrary, Bai Luo became alert, and together with Ergui, he looked at the other party with serious eyes. It seems that your excellency knows of my existence. The girl was the guardian of the Jura Forest, the tree elf Taurine. She bowed gracefully to Bai Luo and introduced herself, my name is Taurine, and I am the manager of this forest. Tree elves. Bai Luo didn't play dumb and pointed out the other party's identity directly. I wonder what the mysterious tree elf lady is visiting you for so late at night. It's no wonder Bai Luo was nervous. It's really that Taurine's strength is a little hard to define. First of all, Taurine's true form is a big spiritual tree in the forest. The tree elf's current posture is more like some kind of projection. In terms of monster level, Taurine herself is close to the special A level. If a real fight breaks out, Taurine's strength is not much different from that of the current eruption. If you include plugins like Destroyer and Explosion Magic. In a one-on-one fight, there is still hope that eruption can defeat the current Taurine. However, Taurine's situation was special. A large part of her strength lies in the contracted elf, the Wind Elf King. The Wind Elf King has a magic value of over 1 million and possesses combat power comparable to that of an awakened Demon King. In the original story, even Laplace's arm was chopped off. There is no doubt that once Taurine summons the Wind Elf King, Bai Luo and Ergilong's only choice is to immediately activate the Traveler ability and escape to another world. Please don't be nervous. I have no ill will towards you two. Fortunately, Taurine has a gentle temperament. As long as the ecology of the Jura Forest is not destroyed, she will not interfere. No need to worry. Taurine smiled and said, rather, I came here to thank you two for resolving a major crisis for the forest. Are you talking about those bug monsters? Yes. Afterwards, Taurine told the two the origins of those insect monsters. Several months ago, a bug monster came from another world and built a nest somewhere in the forest. After that, the insect monsters began to multiply at an astonishing speed that even Taurine had not expected. Before anyone knew it, the insect monster had become a major threat to the forest. If Bai Luo had not intervened this time, Torni would have had to go to the forest to seek help from the monster tribe, just like she did when dealing with the crisis of the Pighead Emperor. Do you know the origins of those insect monsters? This. Torni shook her head and said regretfully, I only know that they don't belong to this world. I don't know more. All right. As for the origins of these insect monsters, Bai Luo speculated that they were most likely related to the Yaotian clan that invaded other worlds everywhere, and that they were biological weapons created by some means. The so-called demon celestial race is a special existence that is the result of the contamination of the angel race in the basic Axis world. Of course, these things are too far away from Bai Luo now and are not something he should consider. No need to thank me or anything. Bai Luo said, I will live in the village of the Great Ghost Clan in the future, and I will be considered a member of the forest. I don't mind getting rid of guys like this who want to destroy the forest. This was not Bai Luo's way of trying to please Torni, but rather his true thoughts. That's great. Torni smiled brightly, from now on, Mr. Bai Luo and Ms. Ergui will be our neighbors. I hope we can live in harmony. It's one thing that Bai Luo doesn't care, but Torni can't take it for granted. Miss Tree Elf began to think about what she should give as a thank you gift to Bai Luo for protecting the forest. Well, please give me more advice. After confirming that Torni had no ill intentions, Bai Luo breathed a sigh of relief and had the opportunity to ask her about the current situation. For example, how many years are left before the story begins? And from Torni, we learned that the Storm Dragon is still sealed, which means that Rimuru has not yet been reincarnated from the other world. As for more information, Bai Luo couldn't judge. If you need anything in the future, Mr. Bai Luo can just call my name. Taurine, I can hear your voice no matter where I am in this forest. Good. Having successfully connected with a strong man like Bai Luo, Torni's purpose of coming here this time has been achieved. The Jura Forest is like a residential area, and Bai Luo and Ergui are the new residents. Now, knowing that Bai Luo is a good neighbor who is polite and abides by the rules, Torni felt relieved. Then I won't disturb Mr. Bai Luo's rest. The tree elf lady bowed to Bai Luo, and then her body turned into green fluorescence and disappeared. Only when Taurine's breath completely disappeared did Ermire put down the thornvine stick he had been holding tightly. Okay, you can let down your guard now. The other party should have no ill intentions. Although he knew it, Bai Luo would not forget to be vigilant. Ergian assumed a fighting stance just in case. Chapter 30. The woman just now gave me a very dangerous feeling. I didn't know how to describe it. It was obvious that there was no pressure from a strong person on Taurine. But Ergian felt that once the two sides went to war, she and Bai Luo would be the ones to die. It's probably because of the Elf King. Bai Luo told Ergian that Taurine could summon the King of Wind Spirits, which gave Ergian motivation to become stronger again. The path to becoming stronger is right before us. We must seize the opportunity. Bai Luo was talking about the Big Ghost Clan. His Ergilong is now A level. This means that only enemies above and including B level can provide her with experience points. C level, or even C+ level monsters have lost their value as food to Yanyan. Yet, there are a lot of powerful guys in the village. Yanyan wants to fight them. The village of the Big Ghost tribe has a population of nearly 300. Exclude those who have died in battle, those who are out on mercenary missions, and young children. Today, the village can still gather 200 combat forces above B level. That's what I thought. But, Bai Luo, what excuse should I give? You can't let Ergian beat someone up for no reason, right? What do you think of training guidance? Training instructor. Ah. Bai Luo nodded and said, the ghost tribe is aggressive by nature, so there must be fighting and sparring on weekdays. We can use this opportunity to let Peng Peng fight with them. Ergian is now an A-level demon and a high-level demon. It was completely reasonable for her to instruct the Great Ghost Clan, compete with them, and defeat them in the process. The result was smoother than Bai Luo expected. In fact, Bai Luo didn't need to say anything, the Big Ghost tribe took the initiative to put forward their request. The Red Ghost Chief and Bai Lao, along with some young ghosts from the tribe, visited Bai Luo and Igui Luo. They hope that during the time Bai Luo stays in the village, he can give some guidance to the young people in the village. Sure. It's like a pillow is given to you just when you are sleepy. Bai Luo was still considering how to propose a request for a sparring match, but he didn't expect that the ghost tribe would give him the opportunity. However, Bai Luo did not want to reveal the secret that Ergian could defeat monsters, level up, and gain experience points. The growth of they, together with the leadership of Bai Luo, will always be a shortcut for them to become stronger quickly before the magic element reaches 1 million. If it was other relatives, Bai Luo wouldn't care. But the big ghost tribe that I just met, Bai Luo can only say that one should always be on guard against others. Village head. What can I do for you, Lord Bai Luo? The red ghost leader was very respectful to Bai Luo, and Bai Luo was quite helpless about this. However, considering the warrior style of the great ghost clan, Bai Luo could only adapt to the local customs. Next, I will let become the opponent of the big ghost tribe in the village. In order to avoid exposing the information of the growers and gain more experience points, Bai Luo decided to expand the scale of the competition. You can come one by one, or you can form a team and come together. Bai Luo flipped Ergui's hair. Don't worry, I will ask Ergui to show mercy and won't really hurt anyone. Bo. Ryu cooperated very well and showed an innocent smile, which once again won the favor of the big ghost tribe. Is it really possible? Will this be too much trouble for Lord Ergui? Hearing Bai Luo's decision, the Red Devil leader was a little flattered for a moment. He didn't expect Bai Luo to be so concerned. Not only did Bai Luo immediately arrange the request he had just made, but he also treated everyone equally and took everyone's feelings into consideration. At this moment, the Red Ghost leader became more determined to keep Bai Luo and Ergi long. Even if it means giving up his position as leader, he will do it. I'll go gather everyone together now. Let's put aside the matter of persuading Bai Luo to stay. What the Red Ghost leader needs to do now is to immediately inform everyone in the village of the good news. What? What happened? The central square of the big ghost tribe is called a square, but in fact it is a large open space surrounded by wooden houses. There is a high platform built here, which is the arena in the village specially used for people to compete. It's Lord Ergui. Lord Erkuro is willing to train us and help us become stronger. The big ghost tribe worships power and desires to become powerful. Normally, they would not even dare to imagine that they would be able to spar with a powerful upper-level demon like Ergian. Lord Ergian intends to teach us combat techniques. I'm really looking forward to fighting such a powerful demon. A world of monsters where the strong prey on the weak. The big ghost clan is slightly better. At least Old Bai and the older big ghost clan members will teach the younger generation's swordsmanship and combat skills. But that's all. If you want to challenge higher level monsters, you must risk death. And now, the A-level ghost, Ergui Yan, whose real strength may be even above A-level, is willing to be their sparring partner. No wonder the Red Devil leader would make such a request. The experience of fighting against a strong person is really rare, and the Great Ghost Clan must cherish this hard-won opportunity. How are you going to come? Ergui stood in the center of the field amidst the crowd. She summoned a thornvine stick and held it in front of her, one-on-one, or all together. Next to Bai Luo, Peng Peng is a cute, well-behaved, and caring little girl. However, this little girl who is introverted and afraid of strangers and has some social phobia will become more violent than anyone else once she goes to the battlefield. One stick brings one treasure, 3 sticks break the heart. The fact that he was able to single-handedly inflict hundreds of years of psychological trauma on a certain villain is no exaggeration. I, Eruption, am nicknamed Little Kaido from Kitakami Township. Those whose names contain the character, please read my gossip. Chapter 31. Please give me your guidance, Master Ergui. The first to come on stage was Hung Guan, the young master of the Great Demon Clan. He was seen holding a samurai sword, with a burly figure of nearly 2.5 meters tall, standing in front of Ergilong, like a small mountain. However, there is such a huge size difference. But the one who was really nervous was Benimaru, not Erki. One person. Ryu tilted his head, and his playful and cute look immediately won him the love of countless big ghosts. My little girl is so cute. Bai Luo, together with the Red Devil leader and Bai Lao, came to the edge of the ring, a high place with a great view. Here, they can see the battle between Ergian and the big ghosts more clearly. I want to know how big the gap is between me and the real A-level. A-level. Hearing Benamera's words, Erkuro tilted his head. But, is not A-level. It's true that her magic level is A, but her actual combat power is definitely at the special A level. If Benimaru wanted to use Erkuro as a reference for the A-rank demon, then this time, he would probably be defeated. Please enlighten me. Benimaru, who didn't realize that he had underestimated Erkuro's strength, had already raised the samurai sword in his hand and assumed a mid-range stance. All right. Then, as you wish. Eruption raised his head, and the green thorn vine stick was spinning in his hand as if it was light as a feather. It doesn't matter whether it's A grade or not. Anyway, Ergui's purpose is just to get the experience points from Hung Guan. Are you ready? Good. Swish. However, almost at the moment Hung Guan finished speaking, the pupils of the young master of the Great Demon Clan suddenly shrank. The next moment, Ergui's figure disappeared in front of Hung Guan without any warning. Quick! Of all the big ghosts in the village, only Old Bai could barely see a little bit of the shadow of the moving evil ghost. What? When Hung Guan reacted, he felt a strange force like a tidal wave coming from the front. The burly red-haired evil ghost instinctively wanted to raise his sword to block. But Ergui's thorny vine stick took the lead and stopped in front of him. Boom! Before Hung Guan could recover from his shock, he was faced with the fierce wind pressure brought by Ergui's stick. As a result, everyone only saw Hung Guan being hit hard and flying, smashing several wooden houses in a row, and disappearing at the end of the street. This. For a moment, all the ghosts were stunned. The whole place was silent, as if they had not yet recovered from the mediocre blow from Erguian. What happened? They only saw the evil spirit suddenly disappear and suddenly reappear. Then their young master flew backwards like a meteor and fainted. High-speed movement? No. The ghost elder standing next to Bai Luo was shocked by his own guess. Is it space jump? She actually has such a skill. But what about the strange force attached to the stick? Bai Luo has rich combat experience. In the original work, based on a brief contact with Rimuru, he saw through the source of the skills he used. But this time, Mr. Bai said he couldn't understand it. Young master. Finally, some of the ghosts realized something. They ran anxiously towards the direction where the red ball was flying. After some searching, everyone finally dug out the unconscious Hung Guan from the ruins. Young master. Master, are you okay? Master. Fortunately, there are experienced doctors in the village. The other party stepped forward to check on Hung Guan's condition and found that he was simply unconscious and did not have many injuries on his body. Just unconscious. The doctor said, most of the injuries on the young master's body are on the surface. With the recovery ability of our ghost tribe, he will be healed quickly. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief after hearing the doctor's diagnosis. After the panic, what emerged from the hearts of all the ghosts was admiration for Ergui's power and amazement at his skill in making light of heavy tasks. Amazing! Not only is Lord Erguian very powerful, his control over power has also reached that level. Incredible! This is the first time I've seen someone other than the old man do something like this. The old man that the ghosts were referring to was naturally Old Bai. However, even for Bai Luo, it is actually difficult to achieve the same clever technique of injuring but not killing as Erguilong. There are too many technical aspects involved, which are beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Old Bai didn't know that this was the martial arts from the Sikking world, which, after being transformed by the basic Axis rules, eventually formed a new professional system. Before this, there was no similar skill in the Axis world. It is no exaggeration to say that in terms of martial arts attainments alone, Erguilong has already stood at the pinnacle of the Axis world. Only a very small number of master-level beings among humans can be compared with him. Old Bai's swordsmanship has almost reached the level of a grandmaster. But he is too old and has the will but not the strength. Don't worry, I'll hold back. Bai Luo, bring him here. Despite all the damage just now, Benimaru only received minor injuries. It was definitely because Erkuro showed mercy. Soon, the unconscious Hong Wan was brought to Bai Luo. Healing spell. Bai Luo raised his hand, and golden magic power sprinkled down, and the injuries on Hong Wan's body immediately recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. This magical scene once again caused the big ghosts to exclaim in surprise. The injury has been healed. He will wake up in a while. After treating Hong Wan, Bai Luo looked at Bai Lao and asked, with your experience, can you see the mystery of the stick that Yan Yan just used? I am old and stupid. Bai Lao shook his head and said with emotion, I failed to appreciate the mystery of Lady Gaiji's move. I would like to ask Mr. Bai Luo to help me solve this puzzle. The old man did not express his guess. He originally thought that Erguian had used some kind of space jumping skill, which allowed him to instantly cross dozens of meters and appear in front of Hung Guan. But soon, this conjecture was overturned by Mr. Bai. It's not space teleportation. The way Erguian moved was something that Bai Lao could not understand. That was a strange method that he had never imagined. Its destruction. Bai Luo did not embarrass Bai Lao, and explained to the two the mysteriousness of Ergui Yan's stick just now. Yan Yan has the power to completely destroy anything it touches. Chapter 32. Destroy. Bai Lao's pupils shrank slightly, and he suddenly thought of something. Could it be that the air and space were destroyed wherever the stick passed just now? It turned out to be like this. Seeing Bai Luo smiling without saying anything, Bai Lao was secretly frightened, and even the hand that was brushing his beard was shaking slightly. The spatial movement of the eruption is more of a variant of the destroyer than a spatial skill. By shattering the space, an extremely violent instantaneous jump can be performed. This process is much faster than ordinary space teleportation based on coordinate positioning, and is almost impossible to be interfered with or interrupted. Of course, the physical body will suffer great harm when crossing the broken space. Except for beings like Urki, who have incredible physical strength and whose recovery ability is almost buggy, no one dares to cross space in this way. How reckless! The corner of Bai Lao's mouth twitched when he heard this, and he thought to himself that Egui's behavior was too outrageous. Then, what about the power contained in the stick just now? Oh, that one. Bai Luo said, in addition to pure super strength, that is, the powerful strength of the eruption, it should be because she used the destroyer to smash everything in her path. After the evolution of, the depth of the unique skill destroyer has also been increased. If the previous destroyers could only destroy things that Yan could see and touch. Now, even phenomena such as air resistance, gravity, light, and sound can be forcibly destroyed by Ergian according to its own needs. A blow that shatters the violence of space and destroys the rules. If Ergilong had not shown mercy and let the thornvine stick fall on Hung Guan's head, Bai Lao and the Red Demon leader could not imagine what the outcome would be. Headshots are basic. Even part of the village behind Hongmaru would probably be destroyed by the storm caused by the thornvine stick. Is this the power of Lord Urki? Shin and Sui were watching the fight between Benimaru and Eruption. They thought that Benimaru would lose, but the fact that he couldn't even take a single move was really beyond their expectations. Not to mention that Ergian also let the water go. Cough. Cough 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 cough. Bai Luo's healing skills were amazingly effective, and Hongwan quickly regained consciousness. He first stood up in a daze, and then the image of Ergui's stick appeared in his mind, which made his heart almost skip a beat. It wasn't until Sui called out from the side that Benimaru suddenly reacted. Thank you for your teaching, Master Ergui. Benimaru bowed to Erkuro from the bottom of his heart. He was convinced and overwhelmed by the power of Ergian. Moreover, Hongmaru can be sure that Erkuro's strength is definitely more than just A level. A level is just the amount of magic energy of eruption, but the combat power she can exert is far above A level, and it is very likely that she has reached the legendary disaster level, Special A. Want to come again? Anyone can come, it doesn't matter how many times you come. Ergian raised the thornvine stick to her shoulder, looked around, and challenged the big ghosts. Don't be afraid of getting hurt. I won't kill you. There was one more thing Bai Luo didn't say, which was that even if someone really had an accident, he could resurrect them. The resurrection technique is the highest level skill of the High Priest from the Seeking World. Of course, Bai Luo's resurrection technique is definitely not as perverted as Aqua's. His resurrection technique has great limitations. First, the body of the deceased needs to be kept as complete as possible, with at least 30% of it not missing. Then, the time from death cannot exceed 5 minutes. But 5 minutes is not an absolute requirement. It mainly involves the soul level. If the soul of the dead can be preserved and Bai Luo has mastered the method of reshaping the body, then resurrecting the dead will become extremely simple. Yes, I will show mercy. Ergian showed an extremely pure smile. Pokemon love fighting, and even after becoming a monster, Pokemon has not changed this habit. So, in the next 3 days, Ergian used the excuse of understanding everyone's current strength to beat up all 250 big ghosts in the village, including the children. Of course, Ergian still has his limits. For example, when it comes to the young ghosts, Ergian is mostly just playing with them, and even when he knocks them away, he will hold back. Although Hongmaru was defeated once, he did not give up the challenge. But this time, Benimaru learned his lesson and called over a dozen big demons including Sui and Shin. Of course, the outcome was inevitable. In the face of absolute strength, numbers have no meaning at all. No matter if it was one person, dozens of people, or even a legion of 100 from the great ghost tribe coming to besiege, they would not be able to touch Ergilong at all. However, elite ghosts like Bai Luo and the Red Ghost Leader made Ergilong a little happy. Bai Luo's swordsmanship is extremely tricky and he appears and disappears unpredictably. However, Eagelang has amazing perception. After opening the green grass field, he can even lock onto the enemy with the help of natural elements. The Red Demon Leader is extremely powerful and has a strong physique. Unfortunately, he encountered the eruption who possessed the skill of Destroyer. With the blessing of the Destroyer, the green thorn vine stick is just like the golden hoop stick in mythology. If it touches it, it will hurt, and if it hits it, it will die. Bai Luo's sword only collided slightly with the thorn vine stick before it shattered into large pieces of iron chips. The Red Devil Leader was even worse off. His arm was scratched by the thorn vine stick and turned into a large ball of blood mist, and half of his body was beaten into pieces by the evil spirit. Fortunately, Bai Luo's miraculous healing magic saved the life of the Red Ghost Leader and allowed him to recover as before. This battle made the Big Ghost Tribe fully realize the horror of Ergilong. A-level magic, special A-level combat power. With his battle record, Ergian completely won the respect and admiration of the Big Ghosts, and also earned the title of the strongest ghost. Bai Luo, I feel like I've become stronger again. Ah! In the wooden house, Bai Luo set up a soundproof barrier. He gently stroked the hair of the girl who had turned into a young girl, and praised, among the 250 big ghosts, the weakest is only B level, and the strongest, Bai Luo, has even reached B and level. On average, each big ghost can provide about 80 points of magic to Ergilong. Today, Ergui's magic element has increased from 12,000 points to 33,000. Thanks to you, I can also break through to A rank. Being a leader can allow Bai Luo to obtain 50% of the existence value of his followers. Together with the 1,500 magic points that Bai Luo originally possessed, a total of 18,000 magic points has been achieved, far exceeding the standard of an A-level monster. It is detected that the individual name Bai Luo has reached the evolution conditions. Do you want to evolve? The voice from the world had already appeared in Bai Luo's mind when he was halfway through fighting Ergui. However, Bai Luo did not choose to evolve immediately. Instead, he waited until now, when Ergui's strength reached its peak, to make a breakthrough. Peng Peng won't let anyone disturb Bai Luo. As Ergui Luo spoke, he controlled his magic power and set up a magic barrier outside Bai Luo's silent barrier that could isolate the fluctuations of magic elements. This is to ensure that the movement caused by Bai Luo's evolution would not be noticed by outsiders. Then I'll leave it to you, Yan Yan. Looking at the evil spirit holding the thorny vine stick, as if to protect him, Bai Luo silently said in his heart, Evolve. Chapter 33. Ah! As soon as the evolution began, the huge amount of magic hidden in Bai Luo's body began to stir. The next moment, an unimaginable pain instantly spread throughout Bai Luo's body, making him unable to help but howl in pain. Bai Luo. Eruption was startled. The girl wanted to go forward to check, but a voice in her heart told her not to disturb Bai Luo. These are all normal phenomena, and it is a transformation unique to Bai Luo. Bai Luo is not a pure human or a demon, he is a hybrid of both. The violent reaction is the symbol of the awakening of the monster bloodline. Bloodline identification begins. Before this, Bai Luo had never been clear about what his demon bloodline was. It was not until this moment, with the echo of the voice of the world, that his demon bloodline was truly activated. Identification completed, Pseudo-Dragon bloodline activated. Obtain exclusive skills, Star Particle Control evolution succeeded, individual name Bai Luo acquired race Dragon Demon, fake, skill identification is upgraded to the additional skill Dragon's Eye. When the physical pain faded away, prompts from the voice of the world echoed in Bai Luo's mind, causing him, who had just recovered with great difficulty, to be tortured by the information explosion once again. But this time, Bai Luo not only did not feel uncomfortable, but was extremely excited. Star Particle Manipulation. It's actually Star Particle Control. There is also the Dragon Demon. Bai Luo never thought that the part of the demon blood hidden in his body would actually be a dragon. And he is the star-creating Dragon King who comes from the ceiling of the Axis world. You should know that the Dragon Demon in that time I got reincarnated as a slime is not a race, but refers to a unique individual, Milim, one of the 3 oldest demon lords. Milim is the daughter of the Star Dragon King and the human Lucia. She inherited her father's infinite magic and dragon blood, thus becoming a unique dragon demon. However, now, Bai Luo has also been given the race of Dragon Demon by the voice of the world. A fake dragon demon is still a dragon demon. But after the surprise, Bai Luo couldn't help but start thinking, where did the dragon blood in the original body come from? The first person that can be ruled out is Milim. Milim is just a little lowly, it is impossible for her to mate with any human and give birth to offspring. After ruling out the possibility of natural reproduction, Bai Luo could only think of one explanation, which was magic element infection. In the original work, after the magic element of the storm dragon Veldora dissipated, the great storm vortex was born. From this we can see that powerful magic can itself give birth to independent life forms, so it is understandable that it can infect a certain existence and allow it to gain some of its power. That is to say, the ancestors of this body of mine were once corrupted by the magic of the Star Dragon King or Milim. Then, they were lucky enough to survive and passed on this magic factor into their bloodline. However, considering the uniqueness of Milim the dragon demon, Bai Luo felt that none of his ancestors had ever truly awakened this power. This perfectly matches the original body's memory, that all his ancestors were ordinary people. Because the bloodline of the Star Dragon King is too high, the ancestors of the original bodies that were infected with his magic power are unable to awaken this power at all. Bai Luo, then why did I awaken the power of the Star Dragon King? Recalling his own uniqueness, Bai Luo thought of a possibility, that is the extraordinary talent of traveler. Possessing the power to travel to other worlds is the key to activating the dragon bloodline. A meager amount of dragon blood, plus the traveler's world travel, and the magic of the base Axis world. The combination of the three made this miracle possible. Well, although there is a fake label behind the dragon demon. According to Bai Luo's estimation, he might need to become a demon king, or even fully awaken as a true demon king, before he can remove this fake word. But it doesn't matter. It's only a matter of time. Obtaining the blood of the dragon demon is equivalent to opening up an evolutionary path with a very high ceiling. Most importantly, I also gained the ability of star particle control in advance. Even after reading the original novel, Bai Luo's understanding of star particles is still very one-sided. First is the concept of star particles. To put it simply, star particles are high-concentration magic elements that have undergone extreme compression. Just like matter is composed of atoms and molecules, magic element also has its basic unit, namely spirit particle. Before, Bai Luo had some doubts about the magic element value. For example, 9,999 magic elements and 10,000 magic elements are only 1 point apart, so why is the former B-level and the latter A-level? You know, an A-level monster with 10,000 magic elements can easily defeat a B-level monster with 9,999 magic elements. So is this 1 point difference really that big? Shouldn't it be a breakthrough from B-level to A-level, and then the magic power would skyrocket several times or even dozens of times in an instant? But now, Bai Luo understood a little. This seems to be only a 1 point difference, but in fact it is a complete qualitative change. If we say that magic elements below 10,000 are based on spirit particles, it looks like 9,999 magic elements, but in fact it can be divided into 9,999 million spirit particles. In contrast, when monsters break through A-level, their magic elements will become a whole. The basic unit of Class A is no longer spirit particles, but pure magic elements. 10,000 magic elements are 10,000 magic elements. They are inseparable, and unless the A-level monster itself is willing, outsiders cannot disassemble and separate them from the perspective of spirit particles. This magical change has greatly increased the weight of A-level monsters in the basic Axis world. It is no exaggeration to say that if a Class A vehicle collides with one below Class A, the latter will be smashed to pieces in an instant. Of course, the handling ability of Class A is also unimaginable for Class B. They can transform one portion of magic element into millions of spirit particles, and then manipulate them with incredible precision, thereby producing effects far beyond those of the B-level period. This is what was mentioned above, the active separation of A-level monsters. In this way, others can't beat you, but you can control yourself better. 1 + 1 - the watershed called level A is formed. Maybe this is the difference between skills, inherent skills, and unique skills. Only special A-level monsters have unique skills. Bai Luo, on the other hand, if a reincarnated person who has acquired unique skills in advance develops well, he will be able to reach special A-level sooner or later. And the unique skills are most likely the product of refining magic elements. Only after it was recognized by the voice of the world was it named as a unique skill. In other words, the transition from A-level to special A-level is actually a process of finding a path. If you find your own path, you will be promoted to special A rank and be given the title of Demon King. Bai Luo has almost figured out the entire evolution process from a monster to a Demon King. I now have 4 unique skills, namely Traveler, Leader, Capture and Learner. Among them, the Capture and the Leader, either of which alone is not considered a powerful skill. At least there is no comparison with Rimuru's almost omnipotent Predator. These 2 unique skills alone. The Capturer can contract individuals with potential, wait for them to become stronger, and then let the voice of the world make a reverse judgment to allow himself to reach a higher level. The result of this process seems beautiful, but it is actually extremely difficult. Because the captor himself has no fighting power. It's easy to be killed when you are weak. Unless the captor is a noble, lord or other high-ranking person, he can make people willingly serve him. Otherwise, this ability really has no future. In comparison, being a leader has it even easier. In theory, anyone who is willing to follow the leader can provide a portion of magic to the leader. However, the magic power that followers obtained in this way can provide can never reach the terrifying level of 50% like that of the Uruk York. Each person can provide up to 3% of magic. How many subordinates does Bai Luo need to accumulate in order to gather enough magic elements for him to break through to the Demon King species? Without 10 or 20 years, it is impossible to develop such a huge force, right? Fortunately, Bai Luo's leaders and captors complement each other's abilities. Bai Luo felt that the effect of the combination of the 2 was no worse than Rimuru's Predator. The Traveler's ability has an immeasurable upper limit due to its exceptional nature, so we will not discuss it for now. The last learner, Bai Luo felt that it was not much inferior to Rimuru's Predator. Keep replicating your abilities and strengthening yourself. Such an ability would be considered a cheating skill in any light novel set in another world. Chapter 34. If unique skills are classified, learners should be classified as high-level unique skills, just like predators. And skills like Leader and Capture, which have the potential for development, can be considered as mid-level unique skills. Even though the leaders and captors have flaws, they are still much more powerful than the summoned reincarnations in the original work. I remember that in the original work, there were 3 people from another world who were summoned. Shogo's Berserker, Xingzi's Kijin Master, and Kyoya's Sever. In Bai Luo's opinion, the unique skills of these 3 people are not as good as those of the leader and the capturer. This type of unique skill is more like an ability system, and once acquired, it will possess excellent combat effectiveness. However, the shortcomings of the Berserker, Kijin and Sever are also obvious, that is, there is a lack of successors. In Bai Luo's opinion, the time when unique skills can really come into play should be after breaking through Special A. Like the leader and the captor of Bai Luo. Even after becoming a Demon King, Bai Luo can still rely on these 2 unique skills to continue to grow stronger. According to this classification, the Destroyer of the is actually also a low-level unique skill. Bai Luo thought about it, and then opened his current attribute panel. Bai Luo Race, Dragon Demon, Fake, Level, A-Level Upper Demon, 18060 EP, Occupation, Magician General Skills, Life Magic, Healing Magic, Elemental Magic, Pokemon Magic, etc. Inherent Skills, Adaptability, All Professional Mastery Additional Skills, Dragon Eye, Explosive Magic Unique Skills, Traveler Breakthrough, Leader, Captor, Learner Special Skills, Magic Solidification, Star Particle Manipulation Dependent, Eruption, 1/12, Marked Worlds, Pokemon World, Sashin World. The types of skills, in order of strength and rarity, are general skills, additional skills and unique skills from low to high. Special skills are beyond discussion and cannot be measured simply by strength, nor can they be copied by others. In addition, additional skills are also called additional skills and X skills. Inherent skills are mostly passive or racial characteristics. More than 18,000 magic elements, and the number of followers has increased from 6 to 12. 3C level, 6B level, and now that we have broken through to A level, the number of dependents has reached 12. Bai Luo's original plan was to go to another world to find his followers, just like Urki. The number of places is increasing faster than I thought. Bai Luo thought to himself, in this case, it seems that there is no need to cling to the other world. The Axis world also has many potential stocks worth taking as followers. For example, the 4 members of the Great Demon Clan, Shina, Shin, Benimaru, and Sui, have the qualifications to awaken the ultimate power in the original work. Among them, Sui's magic value in the future will exceed 1.2 million, and after Shin and Benimaru are equipped with exclusive weapons, their magic value will exceed 5 million. Not to mention Shana, the total amount of magic energy of Shin, Benimaru, and Sui alone reached a huge amount of 11.2 million. According to the 50% feedback, Bai Luo accepted the 4 people as his followers, and in the future they will be able to provide at least 6 million magic elements in return. Therefore, allocating 4 places for dependence to them will not only not result in loss, but will instead result in a huge profit. From now on, use half of the number of followers to cultivate qualified followers in the Axis world. Bai Luo did not forget the remaining 250-odd ghost tribes. Even if we cannot develop them into followers, as long as they are followers, the leader can draw some power from them. 50% for dependence, 15% for naming. For ordinary followers, the amount of magic energy they receive back ranges from 1% to 3%, depending on their loyalty. Excluding the children with a B rating, the remaining 200-odd members of the Great Demon Tribe have an average magic element of around 6,500. Even if we only calculate based on the minimum 1%, it is still 65x200, which is close to 13,000 magic points. If you are luckier and the big ghost tribe truly surrenders, that would be 40,000. However, it is definitely not that easy to meet the conditions for taming it. Although the leader's ability to gather the power of all beings has a bug, it is not without limitations. At least it is impossible to judge the other party as a follower just by saying I am loyal to you. In order to achieve a magic connection, one must first submit sincerely. The Great Ghost Clan worships the strong, but worship does not mean identification. Is there any way to quickly gain the loyalty of a monster? That's right. Soon, Bai Luo came up with a solution: give it a name. Yes, give a name. This is the most straightforward and simple way chosen by Bai Luo to gain the loyalty of the Great Ghost Clan. Bai Luo now has 18,000 magic elements. If the dividing line of 10,000 is removed and cannot be shaken, the amount of magic elements he can use to bestow names is only 8,000. The strongest among the big ghost tribe now are Bai Luo and the Red Ghost Leader. The magic elements of the two are higher than those of other big ghosts, reaching 9,000 and 8,500 respectively. This means that Bai Luo only needs to spend 2,500 magic elements to give names to the two people. When the magic element reaches 10,000, Bai Luo and the Red Demon Leader can evolve into demons. And considering that the name giver can provide 15% of the magic, I can at least get 3,000 magic back from them. So not only did I not lose money on this deal, I actually made a net profit of 500. In other words, there is no loss for Bai Luo to give names to the big ghosts whose magic value exceeds 8,500. Bai Luo, your aura has suddenly become much stronger. Bai Luo smiled and said, thanks to you, Peng Peng, I was able to evolve successfully. Now, I am already a high-ranking demon just like you, Tsubomi. Ergian was happy about Bai Luo's evolution, even happier than her own breakthrough and becoming stronger. Peng Peng, help me get Hong, Bai Luo wanted to say Red Pill, but remembered that they didn't have a name yet. There was no other choice, so Bai Luo had to describe the appearance of Shana, Shin, Benimaru, and Sui, and then let Ergian talk about their future. Peng Peng is going now. As soon as the little girl received the order, she jumped out happily. Slow down, be careful not to fall. No way. I'm not stupid. Ergian turned around and stuck out his tongue, only idiots would fall flat on their faces. After saying that, the girl not only did not slow down, but ran even faster. This girl. Looking at Ergui's playful appearance, Bai Luo couldn't help but smile. My sweet and caring little cotton-padded jacket is always so lively and cheerful, and even Bai Luo is infected by her. Sure enough, no matter when, as long as I stay with Ergian, my mood will inexplicably become better. Chapter 35. Lord Bai Luo. Not long after, Hung Guan and the other 4 followed Ergui into Bai Luo's wooden house, and they knelt on the ground with great respect. The 4 wanted to ask Bai Luo why he asked them to come over. Just by looking up, they noticed the changes in Bai Luo. This. What a powerful aura! Master Bai Luo, how come you have become so much stronger all of a sudden? Bai Luo's evolution was beyond shock for Hong Wan and the others. They knew that after a monster broke through a bottleneck, it would undergo a transformation called evolution. It's just that Bai Luo's evolution was too silent. It was clear that the 4 of them had just met Bai Luo not long ago. Now, only 1 or 2 hours have passed, and Bai Luo's aura has improved from the original entry B level to its current level. There is only a difference of 1 point between 10,000 and 9,999 magic elements. But the feeling this brought to the big ghosts was like real oppression. Oh, sorry, I almost forgot. Bai Luo gathered the magic power that was still out of control due to evolution, and maintained his presence at the level of a B-class monster. This made the big ghosts feel much better. At the same time, I also thought of the reason why Bai Luo suddenly became stronger. Master Bai Luo, have you been hiding your strength all this time? No wonder. Hongwan thought to himself, how could such a catastrophic magic be cast by a mere B-rank monster? If it's a hidden aura, then it's not surprising. As he became more and more certain of his thoughts, Hongwan began to ponder Bai Luo's true strength. Grade A? That's for sure. The oppressive feeling from the magic just released has already reached A level. However, Hongwan felt that this might not be Bai Luo's full strength. Could it be that Lord Bai Luo is a special A level? As soon as this thought came out, Hongwan could no longer suppress it. Yes, even Lady Erkui has A rank, so Lady Bai Luo, who can be followed by her, must be even more powerful. Special A grade. This is the most powerful existence that Hongmaru can imagine. Further up is the legendary Demon King species. Don't be nervous. I called you here because I have something to discuss with you. Bai Luo calmed the 4 people down, and then said in a gentle tone, I want you to become my dependents, do you agree? Family. Ah, just like PN. Bai Luo thought for a moment, and said in a way that they could understand, you can think of them as followers, or retainers. Possessing the unique skill of the captor, and Bai Luo's current strength being above that of the 4, he is actually able to capture the 4 by force. It's just that Bai Luo doesn't like to force others. Secondly, he also hopes to gain subordinates who are truly loyal to him. Followers are different from ordinary followers. They are more like my companions. Bai Luo did not tell the 4 people the benefits of being dependents, but simply described the relationship between them. In Bai Luo's view, there should be no interest involved between him and his relatives. Saying in advance you will become stronger if you become my followers would taint the oath and make it less pure. I do. The first person to speak was not Benimaru and Sui, but Shana. It is my honor to be a companion to Master Erkuro. Shana, and at that time, if Lord Bai Luo hadn't intervened, I would have died in the mouth of that insect monster. I can never repay you for saving my life. I am not a talented girl, but I am willing to serve you. After saying that, Zhu Cai gracefully bent down and saluted Bai Luo. Forward. Bai Luo hesitated, but he didn't refuse. Whatever the reason, Shanae was serious about wanting to repay her gratitude, and that was enough. Well, you don't have to do this. Become my dependent, and we will be a family from now on. Bai Luo smiled and said, then you are welcome to join us. That's so cunning. Seeing that Bai Luo was really willing to accept Shana, Shan apologized to Hongguan, I'm sorry, Master. I also want to become Master Bai Luo's dependent. I understand. Although Hongguan is called the young master by everyone in the Great Demon Clan, he is the future heir of the village. But this is only in name only. At least Shan and Sui have not yet officially sworn an oath to Benimaru and become his retainers. To be honest, the 4 of them are childhood sweethearts, close friends who grew up together, rather than master and servants. Shan's reason for choosing to follow is the same as Shana's. At that time, the 2 women were facing desperate situations, and it was thanks to Bai Luo and Ergui's intervention that they survived. The grace of saving a life is greater than heaven. Now that Bai Luo wants to recruit them, what reason does Ziwan have to refuse? What's more, Bai Luo also said it. He wanted a trusted companion, not a servant. This sincerity alone is enough to impress many people in the Great Ghost Clan, not to mention Zhu Cai and Shan who were saved by Bai Luo. May I ask, Lord Bai Luo, what are you going to do? The one who spoke was the usually taciturn Kanjiang. He was actually not opposed to following Bai Luo. The Great Demon Clan was originally mercenaries, active in various places in the Jura Forest. Becoming Bai Luo's retainer is essentially no different from becoming a mercenary. The latter is temporary, while the former is a permanent job that requires absolute loyalty. Bai Luo's strength and Ergui's power. This is quite consistent with the monster's need to choose strong people to follow. Of course, if that were all, the demon Grummet in the original novel would not have suffered a setback at the hands of the demon clan. What really touched Sui was the meaning of dependence as portrayed by Bai Luo. Not slaves and subordinates, but family members. If this is Bai Luo, Kang Ai is willing to serve him as his lord and offer his loyalty to him. What are your plans for the future? Bai Luo said, maybe it is to accumulate strength and then become a demon king. Demon king. Hearing these two words, the four people present showed expressions of horror at the same time. Do you have such ambitions? Sui's face was solemn, but his tone was sincere. I am willing to be your shadow and help you achieve the great cause of the Demon King. Finding such a lord with such a broad mind, willing to sacrifice his life for him, this is the future that Kang Ai has always dreamed of. Shadow or something? Seeing Kang Jing's serious expression, Bai Luo could only nod and said, okay, I'll trouble you from now on. Chapter 36. Accepting the allegiance of the three, Bai Luo once again set his sights on Hongguan. The young master of the ghost clan with long blood-red hair was extremely conflicted at this moment. When his sister and two friends chose to follow Bai Luo, Hongguan also had the idea of becoming Bai Luo's retainer. Especially at the moment when Bai Luo said that he wanted to become the Demon King. From a personal perspective, he had already recognized Bai Luo after being crushed by Ergilong with overwhelming force. Serving such a powerful being, Benimaru was not slow at all. But the problem is feel sorry. Hongguan was very unwilling, but had to make a choice. I am the young master of the great demon clan, I can't abandon everyone in the village. So, please forgive me, I can't follow you, Master Bai Luo. I see. After hearing Hongguan's reason for rejecting him, Bai Luo was not angry at all. Instead, he was quite appreciative. He thought to himself that he was worthy of being the man who could become the Grand Marshal of the Demon Kingdom in the original work. With this sense of responsibility and someone like Hongguan in charge of the rear, Bai Luo will be able to leave the Axis world with peace of mind and look for opportunities in another world. I think you misunderstood. Bai Luo waved his hand and said, I don't actually plan to leave the Great Ghost Clan's village. What? Benimaru was stunned, and Chana, Shen and Sui were also surprised. You mean? I want to subdue the Great Ghost Clan. Bai Luo did not hide his ambition at all, then build this place into a base camp and become the cornerstone of my advancement to the Demon King. This. The four of them looked at each other, and for a moment, they were a little at a loss. To subdue the Great Ghost Tribe, in a disguised way, is to conquer this place. If it was someone else who said this, Benimaru and the others would definitely fight to the death with that person. The Great Ghost Clan would rather die than surrender and would never compromise with violence. But, things are a little different here in Bai Luo. First of all, it was the life-saving grace. Bai Luo and Ergui saved the younger generation in the village and preserved the future of the Great Ghost Clan. Then, not long ago, Liang defeated the entire demon clan by himself. There's no fancy magic involved, just pure brute force. A thorny vine stick and a pair of pink fists. Ergian just beat everyone away in the field where the big ghost clan is best. A high-ranking demon of the same clan, he has done great favors for the Great Ghost Clan village, coupled with the courage shown by Bai Luo and his friendly attitude towards the Great Ghost Clan. Rather than saying it was a conquest, it would be more accurate to say that Bai Luo and Liang wanted to become a part of them. What about conquering? Ziwan said bluntly, it is obvious that Lord Bai Luo is planning to protect us and take us further. Yes. Zhu Cai tugged at his brother's clothes, and the meaning was self-evident. If they don't agree to such a good thing, wouldn't they be fools? Please accept my allegiance, Lord Bai Luo. Hongguan did not hesitate. He put his hands on the ground and swore, I can't make a decision on behalf of the village, but I am willing to follow you. He is only the young master of the village, the real patriarch is Hongguan's father. But so what? On the point of whether the big ghost tribe is loyal to Bai Luo, Hongguan chooses to stand on Bai Luo's side. What's more, Benimaru didn't think that his father was the kind of fool who couldn't see the situation clearly. The only price to gain the protection of Bai Luo and Ergui Yan is to give up the position of leader. At this moment, Shana and Benimaru looked at each other. Both the brother and sister saw the four words kind father, filial son, daughter, in each other's eyes. If father doesn't understand, then they, the brothers and sisters, don't mind trying to overthrow the powerful and let the Red Devil leader know what it means to be a hero who knows the times. You are welcome to become my partner. Bai Luo finished speaking, raised his hand, and four invisible oaths enveloped their heads respectively. I am here to grant you names. Benimaru. Shen. Shanae. Sui. Bai Luo did not change the names of the four people, but chose to stick to the original work. On the other side, the 4 people who were given names by Bai Luo had disbelief in their eyes. They originally thought that what Bai Luo meant by following was just in name only, but who could have imagined that Bai Luo would actually give them names? Master Bai Luo. The 4 were shocked and worried about Bai Luo. You know, naming a monster will consume a lot of Bai Luo's magic, which is undoubtedly damaging the interests of the owner. Don't worry. Feel the changes in your body. To Bai Luo, magic element is like money. Using the captor, Bai Luo began to transform the 4 people into his own followers. Benimaru's initial magic element is 7,500, Shen's is 7,000, Sui's is 7,200, and Shana's is a little less, but it is also 6,500. In this way, 50% of the magic power of the leader's followers will be bestowed on Bai Luo. This is equivalent to Bai Luo obtaining 14,100 magic elements out of thin air. Then, there are 2 conditions for naming a monster. First, there must be an essential difference between the magic elements of the 2 parties being named. In other words, the magic elements of Bai Luo and the Red Demon Leader are both below 10,000, and neither side can help the other side break through to A level through naming. In the original work, Rimuru named the Storm Dragon because the 2 sides established an equal contract at the soul level by exchanging names. It is not the same as normal monster naming. In addition to that, it is just a naming, and you must give the other party enough magic energy to complete the evolution. This means that if you want to give names to the 4 Red Maru people, you must increase their magic elements to more than 10,000. Only in this way can they evolve from the big ghost tribe to the ghost human tribe. 10,800 magic elements. However, considering that Bai Luo could later feed back half of this magic element from the 4 people, the actual consumption was only 5,400. So, I actually earned 9,000 magic elements. Therefore, in this wave, Bai Luo not only did not consume any magic power, but instead increased his own magic power from 18,000 to around 27,000. If the magic element exceeds 10,000, it is A level. With nearly 30,000 magic elements, Bai Luo and Ergui Luo can already be called mid-level A level. The advantage of conquering monsters from the Axis world as followers is that Bai Luo knows the other party's level and how much magic power they have from the beginning. Unlike Ergian, it's like opening a blind box. Only by bringing them back to the base Axis world can we know their talents and potential. Considering what's next, there's a possibility of crossing into a dangerous world. Bai Luo intends to strengthen his own strength as much as possible. After Shen and the other 3 became Bai Luo's followers, he could take them to the new world through the spirit space like eruption. With 4 beginner-level A-grade warriors and 1 intermediate-level A-grade warrior guarding on both sides, the sense of security suddenly increased. Boom! The commotion caused by the evolution of 4 great ghosts at once was even greater than Bai Luo's previous one. Because there was no isolation barrier set up, the movements of the 4 people instantly attracted the attention of the big ghosts led by Bai Luo. All of a sudden, countless big ghosts rushed towards the wooden house where Bai Luo was and quickly surrounded it. Chapter 37. This kind of movement. Bai Luo's eyes were solemn. Strong fluctuations of magic elements, there is no mistake, there are monsters evolving to a higher level. It's actually evolution. The Red Demon Leader was extremely surprised because he could sense the auras of Benimaru, Shana and others among these magic elements. If his perception was correct, didn't it mean that they were the ones evolving now? Everyone calm down and don't disturb Benimaru and the others. Bai Luo walked out of the wooden house with Ergui Yan. He briefly told Bai Luo and others what happened inside. When the Red Demon Leader heard that Bai Luo did not hesitate to spend his own magic to name the 4 people, Hung Guan, Shana, Shen and Sui, the eyes of the Red Demon Leader changed instantly. Thank you, Lord Bai Luo. I, the Great Ghost Clan, am willing to follow in your footsteps and be at your command. When Hongmaru and the others have finished evolving, they will be the new 4 A-level demon humans. The rise of the Great Demon Clan in the Jura Forest is unstoppable, and at this time, a strong and wise leader is crucial. Just as Hung Guan and Shana thought, the Red Demon Leader chose to submit to Bai Luo. Not long after, as the fluctuations of magic element gradually subsided, 4 figures walked out of the wooden house one after another. They were the 4 Hung Guan who had completed their evolution. Just like in the original novel, the appearance of the 4 people has changed drastically. Lord Bai Luo. Hung Guan and Sui knelt on one knee at the same time and offered their loyalty to Bai Luo. Because Zhu Cai and Shi Yuan are women, they kneel on the ground, bow to Bai Luo, and swear to dedicate their loyalty to Bai Luo. Of course, such a vow is actually meaningless. Not to mention that the four of them had already become Bai Luo's followers and it was impossible for them to disobey his orders. Just the naming system of the Axis world has caused the recipients to rely on and obey the person who gave them the name as if they were their parents. This change is subtle. For example, now, the looks that Shina and Shen gave Bai Luo were full of intimacy and admiration. This is completely different from the previous awe. Get up! Bai Luo asked the four people to stand up, and at the same time used the dragon's eye to identify their current attributes. Red Pill Race, Big Ghost Tribe Ghost People Magic Element, A-Level Upper Demon, 12000 EP, Magic, Air Fighting, Witchcraft, Fire Pokemon Magic Additional Abilities, Magical Perception, Spatial Manipulation, Domination of the Flame, Magical Flame Unique Ability, Grand Marshal, Thinking Acceleration, Thought Control, Prediction Calculation, Military Encouragement, Special Skill, Magic Solidification Resistance, Invalid to Abnormal Status, Invalid to Pain, Invalid to Physical Attack, Resistance to Natural Influence, Resistance to Mental Attack, Resistance to Holy and Demonic Attack. Benimaru's magic element is not 10,000, but 12,000. The extra 2,000 magic elements here have nothing to do with Bai Luo. That was purely a gift that Hung Guan received from the voice of the world after completing his evolution, and it brought Bai Luo an extra benefit of 1,000 magic elements out of thin air. Grand Marshal, this is indeed a unique skill of this commanding type. The emergence of this unique skill undoubtedly proves Hung Maru's potential. He has the talent to grow into a demon king. Chi fighting techniques and demon arts should be inherited from the Great Ghost Clan. They are variations of demon fighting techniques and special spells. Almost all the remaining abilities come from Bai Luo, or are bestowed by Bai Luo's naming and dependent system. Magic perception is an ability that most monsters possess, there is nothing much to say about it. Space manipulation should have evolved from Elf Space and Traveler. According to the relationship between Bai Luo and his followers, Bai Luo can replicate most of the awakened abilities of his followers one-to-one, except for the unique skills. That's right, Bai Luo now also has the additional skill of space manipulation. The Flame of the Tyrant and the Devil's Flame. Bai Luo remembered that Hung Guan in the original work possessed a similar ability, which he obtained from the upper-level fire elemental spirit swallowed by Rimuru. However, Bai Luo did not devour the fire spirit. Is it because of the explosion magic? Hongmaru himself possesses fire-related magic, which makes him surprisingly compatible with explosion magic. The combination of the two allowed Hongmaru to awaken these two new skills. This extra skill called Flame of the Overlord is quite powerful. Bai Luo felt the information feedback from the skill and knew the power of the Tyrant's Flame. Just like my explosion magic, it can instantly ignite the magic power in the body, thus erupting with power like a nuclear explosion. However, unlike the long-term charging time of explosion magic, the casting speed of Domination's flame can be controlled. A fire bomb in a short period of time and a compressed explosive flame for a long time. With sufficient magic power, Hung Guan will transform into the most terrifying turret, burning everything that stands in Bai Luo's way. Demon flame transformation is to transform the physical body into elements. The effect is similar to the flame fruit in One Piece, except that it can replenish magic power by burning surrounding substances and then absorbing them. Especially after Hung Guan entered the stage of demonic flame, coupled with the overwhelming flame of the Overlord, his strength compared to before the evolution is so strong that it is no exaggeration to say that he is of a different species. The amount of magic in the Axis world does not mean the strength of the combat power. The properties of Benimaru before evolution were very simple. Red Pill Race, Big Ghost Magic Element, B-Level Lower Demon, 7500 EP, Magic, Chi Fighting, Witchcraft Innate Abilities, Super Strength, Regeneration. There are no extra or unique skills. At best, they rely on the passive inherent skills of the Big Ghost tribe to survive in a corner of the forest. Even though a Benimaru has 7,500 magic points, his actual combat power can only barely rank in the middle among B class. Magic essence is the foundation, but skills are the dividing line between the strong and the weak. With the red pill given by Bai Luo, his true combat power is enough to defeat tens of thousands of B-level monsters. Like him before he evolved, now Hung Guan can beat 1,000 of them. Not to mention the unique skill of the Grand Marshal, which allows Benimaru to share some of his own abilities with the monsters under his command, causing the combat effectiveness of the entire legion to skyrocket by several levels. Very nice. Bai Luo was very satisfied with Hong Guan's ability. Thank you for your recognition. Hung Guan lowered his head, his expression unchanged, but he was actually extremely excited. The naming relationship, coupled with the family oath, doubles the guarantee and has already made Hung Guan, Shana and the others highly bound to Bai Luo from body, mind, and soul. In this world, nothing can make them happier than Bai Luo's recognition. Chapter 38. Aster Race, Big Ghost Tribe Ghost People Magic Element, A-Level Upper Demon, 12000 EP, Magic, Air Fighting, Witchcraft, Evil Pokemon Magic Additional Skills, Fighting God, Magic Perception, Multiple Barriers, Domineering Unique Ability, Tyrant, Accelerated Thinking, Omniscient Perception, Super Strength, Super Speed Regeneration, Magic Destruction, Special Skill, Magic Solidification Resistance, abbreviated Fighting the Deified and the Tyrant. Shin's Dushin Transformation is also a transformation ability. However, unlike Benamera's elementalization, Shin's move uses the constantly recovered magic power to strengthen the body, which is similar to an enhanced version of the ability of magic element solidification. Although it is impossible to transform into an element, the body's strength, defense, vitality, etc. will be greatly improved. Pure Berserker Specialization. If Benimaru is a battle mage, then Shin is a berserker, who is all about having great strength and the ability to send bricks flying. Combined with the Tyrannoid's super strength and super fast regeneration, he even surpassed Benimaru in a one-on-one battle, and was only second to Eruption. Sui Race, Big Ghost Tribe Ghost People Magic Element, A-Level Upper Demon, 12000 EP, Magic, Air Fighting, Ghost Pokemon Magic Additional Skills, Magic Perception, Shadow Manipulation, Space Movement, Unlimited Clones Unique Ability, Stealth, Thinking Speed, Super Speed, One-Hit Kill, Stealth, Special Skill, Magic Solidification Resistance, abbreviated Sui really is going for the assassin style. In the original work, Sui is the Shadow Guard and Ninja under Rimura's command. After being named by Bai Luo, Sui awakened his unique skill, the Hidden One, which specialized his assassination and lurking abilities. Shana Race, Big Ghost Tribe Ghost People Magic Element, A-Level Upper Demon, 12000 EP, Magic, Hex, Elemental Magic, Illusion Magic, Fairy Pokemon Magic Additional Skills, Magical Perception, Multiple Barriers, Spatial Manipulation, Coercion Unique Abilities, Analyzer, Thinking Acceleration, Analytical Identification, Chanting Destruction, Law Operation, Creator, Matter Transformation, Fusion, Separation, Special Skill, Magic Solidification Resistance, abbreviated everyone has obtained the solidification of magic essence, which can be transformed into physical fitness. Benimaru is a battle mage, Shin is a berserker, Sui is an assassin, and Shana is a mage. What surprised Bai Luo the most was that Zhu Cai actually awakened two unique abilities at once. As an analyzer and creator, he is a master of magic, and his potential is no less than that of Bai Luo's learners. Everyone's magic power has reached 12,000 points. This means that the four of them will give Bai Luo a total of 24,000 magic points in feedback. Minus the 5,400 points that were previously given to them, Bai Luo now has around 36,000 magic points left. This amount of magic even exceeds that of the current eruption. So strong. Young Master and the others have become so strong. The big demons all cast envious glances at Hung Guan, Shana and the others. The desire to evolve is the instinct of monsters. The simplest way to break through the level of life is to obtain a name from a strong person. Master Bai Luo, however, before the big ghosts could make any move, Ziwan, with Bai Luo's permission, quickly stood up and hugged him. Why? Bai Luo only felt that something soft was touching his arm. Master Bai Luo's breath. Woo, what a fascinating smell. Ziwan's movements were so fast that Bai Luo couldn't react. However, Bai Luo did not feel any danger. Instead, he felt a sense of closeness and dependence. This was exactly Ziwan's inner instinct to get closer. Bai Luo is the master of the Urki. Subconsciously, the relatives will regard Bai Luo as the most important family member and want to be close to him. Of course, male followers like Benimaru and Sui would definitely not be like Shin. Shin is so cunning. Shanae also needs to stay with Master Bai Luo. The pink-haired ghost girl approached Bai Luo without hesitation and hugged his other arm tightly in her arms. Where's Bo? Ergian tilted his head, somewhat confused about the current situation. Fortunately, Peng Peng is not the jealous type. The girl looked at Shin, then at Shana, and finally could only throw herself into Bai Luo's arms. Bai Luo's embrace is so sweet. Ahem, well, loosen up first, loosen up a little. Bai Luo took great effort to pull his hands out of Zhu Cai Enshin's arms. Being approached by two beautiful girls who were like elves, Bai Luo felt both pain and happiness. If this happened in private, Bai Luo wouldn't care. But in public Bai Luo discovered that the big demons below didn't seem to care about Shen and Shana's behavior at all. Well, this is not the human world. The value system of monsters is to worship the strong. What's more, Bai Luo was the one who gave Shen and Shana their names. Dad, you have seen the magnanimity of Lord Bai Luo. Hung Guan decisively found the red demon leader and said, please leave the future of the demon clan to us. This is almost like forcing the emperor to abdicate. But the same thing. In the world of monsters, the strong are respected. Hung Guan's plan is very clear, he wants his father to leave with dignity. Looking at Kan Jing standing aside, he was keeping a wary eye on Bai Lao, in case the old man did anything unwise. Yet. Bai Lao naturally noticed this. He looked deeply at Bai Luo in front of him, then shook his head helplessly, Chief, since the young master has decided this, then we have no choice, right? All right. The Red Devil leader is not greedy for power. There are only so many people in the big ghost tribe. If it can make the village stronger, the Red Demon leader has no reason to refuse. Sorry, Dad. No. The Red Demon leader didn't mind his son's behavior at all. Instead, he praised him very much, you made the right choice. He just raised his hand and motioned Hung Guan to look at the other tribesmen. This is. Hung Guan saw that in the eyes of those big demons, there was a desire to become stronger. They did not expect to be given the name by Bai Luo. But if they could follow Bai Luo and make the entire ghost clan rise, there might be a chance for them to gain recognition from the voice of the world, allowing all of them to evolve together and become a clan of ghosts. Chapter 39. My lord. Hong Wang quickly told Bai Luo the good news, father has decided to lead the ghost tribe and swear allegiance to you. You did a good job, Benimaru. Bai Luo heard the conversation between Hong Wan and the Red Demon leader. He smiled and said, actually, there's no need to be so nervous. I'm not that cruel. I'm not good at running a village. So the work of managing the village still needs you to do. Bai Luo, in front of Hong Wan's surprised gaze, asked him to call the leader of the Red Ghosts and Bai Lao, and then gave them names. From now on, the village chief will be called Red King, and the old man will be called Bai Lao. The two never expected that Bai Luo would give them a name. As part of Bai Luo's magic element disappeared, a surging storm of magic power suddenly erupted from Qi Wang and Bai Lao's bodies. Soon, the two of them, like Hung Guan and his four companions, completed the evolution from the Great Demon Clan to the Demon Human Clan. However, perhaps because they are no longer young, their potential cannot compare to Hung Guan and others. Although they are both members of the Ghost Clan, Bai Lao and Qi Wang have not awakened their unique skills. Of course, their fighting power is not weak. Each of the additional skills inherited by Bai Luo is very powerful and can greatly enhance the combat effectiveness of monsters. Thank you for the name. The appearance of the Red King is very similar to that of Hung Guan, but he is more calm and majestic. Hung Guan is right, your magnanimity is amazing. Everyone knows that bestowing a name can cause great harm to the giver. However, Bai Luo is still willing to give them his power. First it was the four people from Hung Guan, and then the two old guys. They were flattered by Bai Luo's sincerity and his emphasis on the Great Ghost Clan. I am willing to give a name to an old fellow like me who has 1 foot halfway into the coffin. After becoming a ghost, Bai Lao's brows were full of kindness. He stroked his beard and said, you are really messing around. Please take care of yourself, my lord. Don't worry, this burden is nothing to me. After giving the two names, Bai Luo's magic element did not decrease. Because like Bai Lao and Qi Wang, after entering 10,000 magic elements, they took a small step forward and reached the level of 11,000. After adding several hundred points of magic, my current magic is 37,000 points. After deducting the basic 10,000 points, there are still 27,000 points of magic that can be used to name the Great Ghost Clan. Bai Luo plans to use all this magic power to enhance the strength of the Big Ghost Clan and evolve as many ghost people as possible. When they heard that Bai Luo was going to give a name to the Great Ghost Clan, Hong Wan and the others were all shocked. The four of them hurriedly tried to dissuade him, hoping that Bai Luo would take care of himself and not make such a huge sacrifice for them. There is no such thing as the saying that what is worrying is not the scarcity of wealth but the inequality of wealth. The social monsters are originally one body. The successful evolution of Hung Guan, Chi Wang, and the other 6 people is equivalent to an improvement in the overall strength of the Great Demon Clan. With their leadership and protection, the Great Ghost Clan will surely become more prosperous, which is a good thing for the entire clan. This situation is completely different from Bai Luo directly taking away the ghost who was given a name and abandoning the village. Leaving means taking away the vitality of the village. Staying can provide shelter for the village. If Bai Luo had a favorability system, then his status in the eyes of the big ghosts would definitely reach the level of worship. Powerful, generous, kind. How lucky the village is to have such an outstanding leader. It's okay, my situation is special. It's just giving names to some of the great ghost tribes. It doesn't have much impact on me. Bai Luo did not explain that he possessed the unique skill of a leader, and that the recipients and followers would give him back some of their magic. This means that the actual amount of magic energy consumed by Bai Luo was not as much as imagined. But before that, there is one more thing I need you to do. Afterwards, Bai Luo told the 6 people present that he hoped to gain the loyalty of all the big ghosts. I'll gather everyone here right away. Hearing that Bai Luo was only doing this for such a small matter, King Qi immediately stood up and prepared to arrange a swearing-in ceremony to allow Bai Luo to truly become the master of the village. Very good. Bai Luo had calculated before that if he could make the entire ghost village submit to him, he could obtain at least 30,000 magic elements. Combined with the existing 37,000, Bai Luo could be rated as a high-level A-grade character based on the amount of magic power alone. If we can't break through to special A level in one go, there's little point in keeping these magic elements. Giving feedback does not mean wasting magic, but storing the magic in another form somewhere else. It's finally over. The swearing of allegiance ceremony lasted from day to night. During the whole process, Bai Luo wore a luxuriously decorated dress and sat in the first seat, waiting for the big ghosts to come forward in the form of a family to meet him and pay homage. In addition, it must be said that the Great Ghost Clan is indeed a simple and honest race. Originally, Bai Luo estimated that these ordinary followers could provide 1% of magic, which was already very good. After all, if you want to be considered a follower by the leader, you need to be loyal from the bottom of your heart. In Bai Luo's view, this is not a simple matter in itself. However, the situation of the big ghost tribe was somewhat beyond Bai Luo's expectations. These big guys with ferocious appearances were actually quite delicate inside. Bai Luo's previous actions completely won him the hearts of the big ghost tribe. The amount of magic energy fed back by the big ghosts basically reached 3% of the maximum that the followers could provide, and even the underage ghost children were no exception. Because the children of the ghost tribe have not grown up, the amount of magic energy in their bodies is not much, averaging only around sea level, or 4,000 points. The entire Great Ghost Clan had 254 members, 20 of whom went out on missions, and the remaining 20-odd people died in the insect monster disaster. Recalling the scene when the big ghosts pledged their allegiance in his mind, Bai Luo looked at his attribute panel. 84000 EP. The magic element is close to 85,000, which makes people feel a sense of accomplishment just by looking at it. Benimaru, Sui, Shana, Shan. Bai Luo looked at the 4 people and said, "Have you found an elite person who is qualified for me to name?" Found it. The amount of magic that Bai Luo plans to take out this time is 64,000 points. According to the calculation that the namer can provide 15% of the magic elements, the big ghosts with more than 8,500 magic elements are given names by Bai Luo, and the profit and loss are equal, with no increase or decrease. But in the entire ghost village, there are only 2 people whose magic elements exceed 8,000, King Qi and Old Bai. Even the 3 best members of the clan, Benimaru, Sui, and Shan, only have over 7,000 magic elements. Therefore, Bai Luo set the threshold for naming between 6,500 and 7,000. Bai Luo has seen that most of the young and strong warriors of the Great Ghost Clan have a magic energy level of just over 6,000, which is the early stage of B level. In this regard, the big demons with great strength and the ability to fly bricks do not have a high ecological niche among B-level monsters. The big ghost tribe with more than 6,500 magic elements are definitely the elite among the elite in the village. Bai Luo gave Benimaru and Sui 10 places each to form the Akajishu and Anuwaban respectively. Among them, the red demons are led by Hung Guan. They will lead the remaining big demons to form small teams to carry out hunting and patrol missions. Anuwaban is similar to a ninja organization, specifically responsible for reconnaissance and guarding work. In addition, Shen and Shana each received 5 spots. The 2 women planned to select the female big ghosts in the village to form the Zik Zhong and the Mikoji respectively. Zik Zhong's role is to closely protect Bai Luo's safety. In addition, the priestesses will also take on the responsibility of taking care of Bai Luo's daily life, which is equivalent to Bai Luo's exclusive maid. Chapter 40. It cost Bai Luo more than 50,000 magic elements to give names to these 30 great ghosts. For the remaining 14,000, Bai Luo, with the recommendation of Bai Lao and Qi Wang, gave names to several special talents in the village. There are 5 of them in total, namely Bai Fanpo who is good at medicine, Hai Bei who survived the original work and is good at forging, King Kaku, male, who is good at calculating, and Yuki Haim, female, who is very knowledgeable. Finally, there is Hung Jimei, who, like Hong Wang and Hong Maru, is from the Red Demon clan and is quite confident in her cooking skills. I don't know if it's because appearance reflects the mind, but after these 5 special talents were named by Bai Luo, their extra skills were almost all related to their talents. Bai Luo Magic Element, 26000 EP 26,000. This was the remaining magic value after Bai Luo completed the first batch of naming. It's less, but not less. My magic elements have not disappeared, they have just changed into a different form and are with me. This is not about spending money to buy a wife. Not to mention Benimaru, Sui, and others, Shana and Shen are real cute girls. Especially Ziwan, since becoming Bai Luo's chief guard, she has been sticking to him almost all the time. Shana felt a little jealous, but she couldn't just sit there and do nothing like Shen. As a witch, she not only needs to serve Bai Luo personally, but also needs to convey his decision to the Big Ghost tribe. After taking over the Big Ghost village, Bai Luo officially began the reform. First of all, the structure of the village has changed from the original employment model to a more independent one. Then we will reclaim new land and expand the area of the village. Every Big Ghost is a human excavator, and even the children contribute a lot in this process. There is a square in the center of the village, and then it is divided into 4 areas according to the cross structure. In an ancient courtyard, Bai Luo was sitting under the eaves, with a delicate-looking, fairy-like girl resting on his legs. She was none other than Ergian. At this time, Ergian was curled up, burying her head in Bai Luo's arms, sniffing the scent of her master with her pretty nose and murmured comfortably. Residential areas, work areas, recreation areas, and planting areas. Then we opened shops along the crossroads and turned it into a shopping street. Bai Luo patted Ergui's back to coax the child to sleep, while arranging his work at a leisurely pace. Oink oink. Zhu Cai wrote down Bai Luo's instructions word for word. She listened very carefully and asked about some key points from time to time. That's how it is. Shen was also writing and drawing nearby. Bai Luo secretly glanced at the situation over at Ziwan's place and found that there were boxes of different sizes drawn on the paper. As for the text, Bai Luo can only say that this is really Ziwan. Because I totally don't understand it. Fortunately, there is Shana, the demon clan's shrine maiden who is really smart and has great talent in domestic affairs. The residential area has been almost completed, but is it a little too big? Zhu Cai followed Bai Luo's instructions and asked the Big Ghost tribe to cut down a forest to build houses. The number of houses in the residential area far exceeds the needs of the Ghost tribe. There are less than 250 tribesmen in total. Even if we include the 30 people who are out on hired assignments, less than half of the houses in the residential area are occupied if houses are allocated based on population. But this is obviously impossible. The Big Ghost tribe adopts a family model. There are only about 80 households in the entire village, so there is no need for so many wooden houses. This is to prepare for the future. Bai Luo thought of the village built by Rimuru in the original work, and he planned to follow his model and conquer more demons. Doing so would not only bring new magic to Bai Luo, but also prepare for the establishment of a country in the future. If he wants to become the demon king, he can't be the only one. Ministers, the army, and the people are certainly indispensable. What do you mean? There are more intelligent demons than just the great ghost tribe in this Jura Forest. Bai Luo said, lizardmen, goblins, insect demons, Tengu tribe, pighead tribe. I need their strength. Zhu Cai and others are now Bai Luo's relatives, so there is no need to hide some of his secrets anymore. If we can take them down in one fell swoop, even if they are all 1%, each of them will provide 10 points of magic to Lord Bai Luo, which is several million. When Zhu Cai talked about the million magic elements, her face flushed red, just like a young wife who saw that her husband earned $1 million a year. 1% is just the beginning. Bai Luo is confident that under his people-friendly policies, the proportion of magic elements that these monsters can provide will continue to increase. You should know that this magic element provision mode is not a one-time thing. Once they become Bai Luo's followers, beneficiaries, and dependents, every time they upgrade, it will bring Bai Luo a feedback of 1% to 3% increase in magic. When the time is right, Bai Luo will take out the magic elements and name them. This increases from 3% to 15%. It seems like this wave is a loss, because Bai Luo needs to consume magic to evolve. But think about it carefully, is it really a loss? Taking the Great Demon Clan as an example, for the people like Hongmaru and Shen who evolved into demons, is 12,000 magic elements their limit? Obviously not. They will become stronger. The magic element gained after becoming stronger has nothing to do with Bai Luo, it is a return on his investment. Therefore, for Bai Luo, who possesses the unique skill of a leader, the name is not a waste, but a wise choice. Leaders are powerful, but they have their limits. During this period of time, Bai Luo has almost figured out the limit of the leader's ability, its upper limit is 1 million magic elements, and any more is beyond the scope of the leader's interference. This is not surprising. Leader is just a unique skill. It is definitely not possible to rely on it to increase magic without limit. Fortunately, Bai Luo can use this magic energy to strengthen the monsters under his command. As long as I consume the magic before it reaches 1 million, the leader will be able to bring me magic again. If this cycle continues over and over again, not only Bai Luo himself, but also the demons named after him will be improved by leaps and bounds. Therefore, Bai Luo will not only not harm the intelligent races in the forest, but will also give them a better future. You are all my precious experience packs. There is no need to kill, just make them surrender and you can get magic endlessly. Is there anything more pleasurable than this? Let me go, Lord Bai Luo. Ziwan volunteered, I will defeat them all one by one. I have asked Sui and Anue Ban to investigate this matter. Bai Luo didn't plan to launch an offensive so quickly, I will make arrangements after he brings me information about the nearby races. Shen felt a little disappointed. She really wanted to go out and fight. Don't worry, I'll let you take action when the time comes. Really? Shen is still easy to deal with. This girl is just a silly girl with a straightforward personality. In terms of IQ, she is basically at the same level as Ergian, neither of them is very smart. P.S. I would like to ask everyone to give some flowers, thank you. Chapter 41. After solving the problems in the Axis world, Bai Luo brought Yunyan back to the Siking world again. The reason for coming here is to convert the newly acquired 100,000 magic elements into 1 million experience points. 1 million experience points, enough to raise my level to 100. Bai Luo didn't know what the upper limit of the level of the other world was in the original novel. But in this real Siking alien world, the adventurer's level can reach up to level 100. There is a level cap for adventurers. And in theory, there are 100 levels. As for whether anyone has actually reached the maximum level, when Bai Luo asked Miss Luna before, she replied, I've never heard of anyone raising their level to the limit. If nothing unexpected happens, Bai Luo will soon become the only maximum level adventurer in Siking's different world. Experience value conversion successful. Bai Luo looked at the 100,000 plus magic elements that had not decreased at all, as well as the millions of experience points that appeared out of thin air in the character card. He didn't hesitate and upgraded directly. The next moment, as a large amount of experience points were consumed, Bai Luo gained a large number of skill points. And this is the real reason why Bai Luo returned to Siking's world. Yes, skill points. Bai Luo wants to upgrade all the skills he has mastered to the max. Explosion magic? Add some points. Martial artist professional skills? Add points. Resurrection? Add some points. Add some points. Bai Luo's skill points are far more than he imagined. As mentioned before, the skill points an adventurer can obtain after leveling up are related to his profession level. This means that the earlier you obtain a higher level profession, the more skill points you can get after reaching the maximum level. However, Bai Luo is even more terrifying than this. His situation is similar to Aqua's. This time he returns to the Siking world again, even though his level and attributes have not changed. Bai Luo still gained a lot of skill points from the rules of the Siking world. If Aqua is the goddess who descended from the sky, then Bai Luo is the devil from another world. After spending nearly a quarter of an hour, Bai Luo finally upgraded all the skills he was interested in to the maximum level. But even so, Bai Luo still has a lot of skill points. Forget it, keep it for now. Maybe I can copy it to other skills in the future. Bai Luo had no intention of saving skill points. Suqing is just a world. He has a wider sea of stars and there is no need to search here. Even if he missed out on a rarer skill, Bai Luo wouldn't feel sorry. But I don't feel like I've gotten much stronger. Bai Luo clenched his fists and then carefully felt the changes in his body. Maybe it's because I'm too strong now. A-level upper demon, with the attribute improvement of magic element solidification. The attribute increase brought by Suqing's level 100 is probably not even a fraction of Bai Luo's real attributes. Bai Luo seems to have become a little stronger. Did you find out? Ergian used his fingers to indicate, about this much. Bai Luo shrugged. The description of Erlang is still as abstract as ever. Fortunately, Bai Luo has gotten used to it. I'll get used to it first. Bai Luo regards his trip to Suqing World as a vacation. Here, Bai Luo doesn't show too much supermodel power. Let me see what the level 100 attribute is like. Bai Luo performed appraisal on the adventurers on the road, and then developed a new attribute system based on the attributes of these people. In the Suqing World, the attribute limits of each adventurer are different. Take intelligence, for example. When a mark similar to intelligence, 10, max, appears, it means that no matter how much the adventurer's level increases, the intelligence attribute will not be improved. Because of the talent of intelligence, 10 points is the limit that this adventurer can achieve. This is also why Kazuma in the original work felt pity when he saw that Aqua's attributes were full and her intelligence attribute was still very low. So, no matter how many times this guy levels up, his intelligence won't improve. Aqua has low intelligence and can never improve. As expected of Aqua, she is worthy of the title of mentally retarded goddess. Let's talk about Bai Luo. All of Bai Luo's attributes, without exception, have reached the limits of the Suqing World. It's not his limit, but the limit of the adventurer card. In terms of data, it is 999. This is the conclusion Bai Luo came to after summarizing the data of all adventurers in Axel through magical perception. Even the Lichvizai who lived in seclusion here, had a maximum attribute of only around 800. Of course, Bai Luo's strength, agility, and vitality are far more than just 999 can describe. His real data has long jumped out of the framework of Suqing's attributes. But in this world, it is best to only use forces within the limits. That is to say, all attributes are 999. As long as Bai Luo does not use strength beyond this data, he will not be expelled by the world's will. You too. Bai Luo shared the standard of this red line with Ergui Yan. You have to control the power within 999, understand? Peng Peng nodded obediently. By the way, Bai Luo. Ergian tugged at Bai Luo's clothes and asked, now that our levels have been upgraded and our skill points have been used, are we going back now? In order to prevent any trouble, Yuruko transformed back into its original Pokemon form. She doesn't mind that. Rather, the Pokemon form actually made her feel more comfortable than the human girl form. No need to rush. Bai Luo patted Yan Yan's head and said with a smile, during this period of time, you have also made a lot of efforts in leading the Ghost Tribe's infrastructure construction. Peng Peng is not afraid of hard work. I know. Bai Luo stroked Ergui's head and said, but you still need to relax when you should. Don't you think this world is a good place to relax and live a leisurely life? Bai Luo comes here to upgrade and add points. Now that the goal has been achieved, we should return immediately. But Bai Luo doesn't intend to do so. Let's stay here for the next 2 days and relax. Bai Luo's proposal was instantly praised by Ergui. I still like Suqing's world very much. There is delicious food here, and everyone in the guild is very friendly and will play with me. The little guy really likes the atmosphere of this world. Come on, let's go to the guild first. Bai Luo is not short of money, and now his level has reached the maximum, so there is no need for him to take on any more tasks. Suqing World is now Bai Luo's resort. There isn't so much fighting and intrigue here. Yes, there is a group of stupid adventurers and a mentally retarded goddess who was forcibly brought down to earth by mortals. Huff! Huff, haven't you eaten yet? Hurry up and bring the food up. While walking on the road, Bai Luo and Ergui passed by an area where people were resting. The two of them subconsciously looked in the direction of the sound. Among a group of shirtless strong men, a young man wearing a short-sleeved white shirt and green sweatpants was sweating profusely. This is really... Bai Luo, who saw this scene, subconsciously stopped and said, "What a famous scene. What's wrong, Bai Luo?" Ergui followed Bai Luo's gaze and noticed Sato Kazuma. Is there something wrong with that boy? Why are you looking at him? Does Bai Luo know you? No. Bai Luo, it's my first time seeing this too. But I do know him. As he was speaking, Ergian suddenly pointed at a blue-haired girl who was sitting on the wall, applying cement to bricks and tiles. That. She seems to be. Remember her? The other party was none other than the girl who claimed to be a goddess whom he and Bai Luo met when they traveled through time before. Doesn't quite understand what a goddess is. But just by hearing the name you can tell he's a very powerful guy. But why would such a powerful guy build a wall here? Could it be that, like Peng Peng, he came to this world to relax his body and mind? Chapter 42. Bai Luo, is she the same one as before? It should be her. Although Bai Luo always teases Aqua in private, saying that she is a mentally retarded goddess. But Bai Luo doesn't hate Aqua. What's more, when he first arrived at Siking, he also obtained the cheat ability of learner from the other party. Is Bai Luo going to make her our companion as well? Seeing Bai Luo staring at Aqua, Ergui seemed to understand something. Ah! Bai Luo was stunned at first, then looked at Ergui with horror. No, Ergui, how could you have such a horrible idea? Where's Bo? Ergian tilted his head, his eyes filled with clear stupidity. She didn't quite understand what was so terrifying about her thoughts. Yuki-ya, please don't get too close to Aqua. Favors are favors, and in the Siking world, Bai Luo will definitely take care of Aqua. But turning Aqua into a follower. Let's not talk about the current Bai Luo, whether he can capture Aqua, the goddess. Bai Luo felt his scalp tingling just thinking about the consequences of Aqua joining the team. You know, this guy is not usually good at causing trouble. Recruit Aqua into the team. Bai Luo was really afraid that his fledgling business would be thrown into chaos. So Bai Luo, stop the wisdom. Idiots, get out. Idiots, get out. How terrible. Ergian didn't understand, but since Bai Luo said so, it must be right. So, after hearing that Aqua could lower other people's IQ, the not-so-smart Yanyan started to tremble with fear. Cough. Bai Luo took Ergian's hand and said, don't meet her for now. After all, she is a goddess in heaven. If someone she knows sees her in such an embarrassing state, she will definitely be socially ruined. Bai Luo was not ready to interact with the two men, so he could only pretend he didn't see them and went straight to the union. Hey! Is it Mr. Bai Luo, and Peng Peng? As soon as Bai Luo entered the door, he was noticed by Miss Luna. The tall blonde lady came forward and asked with concern, it's been a while since we last met. Have you left Axel? Well, I took a private commission and went to a place far away. When Bai Luo completes the journey, the speed of time in different worlds will be unified. This time after leaving Suqing, Bai Luo stayed in the Axis world for about a week. After returning, 7 days naturally passed in Siking world. Hey! Brother Bai Luo! Haven't seen you for a long time. Haha, it's great to see you're as energetic as before. After the last banquet, most of the adventurers in the guild had become familiar with Bai Luo. As men, once they drink together, they become friends. Not to mention that Bai Luo drank everyone down by himself. Just based on his drinking capacity, Bai Luo is a well-deserved strong man. I'm short on money lately, so if you want to trick me into treating you, just give up. How can I let you treat me every time? Yet, we're not that shameless. This was true. Everyone was very happy that Bai Luo could invite them once, and they also felt Bai Luo's enthusiasm and friendliness. One should not be greedy, one should be content. 2 of the guild's signature set meals. Pudding and cream ice cream, 3 servings each. And then there's the sparkling wine. Okay, please wait a moment. After Bai Luo placed his order with the waitress, he took Ergian to sit in the corner by the window. He looked around the guild hall, searching for professions and skills that he hadn't seen last time. Not long after the two of them sat down, a graceful figure in armor appeared in Bai Luo's sight. The girl's bright golden hair was pinned up on top of her head. She was tall and plump, and looked quite feminine at first glance, especially her emerald green eyes, which were as calm as water, yet a little cold, perfectly displaying the image of a cold and arrogant night lady. This girl, could it be? Bai Luo didn't even need to guess, the other person's outfit was exactly the same as in the animation, Darkness. Darkness, one of the heroines of Saharu, is the MT in Kazuma's team. Her attacks can never hit anyone, but her defense and vitality are extremely amazing. In addition, this guy is a super masochist. Before it was Kazuma and Aqua, and now it's Darkness. The only missing member is Huai, and the 4-member team in the original novel will be complete. Although he saw the original character again, Bai Luo had no intention of going up to talk to him. This is not to say that Bai Luo hates Darkness. To be honest, compared to the mentally retarded Aqua and the middle school girl Megaman, Darkness's problem can only be considered as lust at best. As a girl knight, it's normal for her to have some gussa attributes, right? At least when watching the anime, Bai Luo had never seen Darkness give any benefits to any character other than Kazuma. In general, it would be great if Darkness could be trained to be a masochist who only has feelings for herself. Bai Luo thought it was quite interesting. What a pity. Where's Bo? Ergui looked up curiously, wondering what Bai Luo was regretting. What I mean is that there are only so many places for dependents, and they cannot be used indiscriminately. Bai Luo explained to Ergui Yan, even if I meet a character I like, I have to first determine whether they are valuable. Compared to those protagonists who can travel through time with girls at will, Bai Luo's travelers are really not that impressive. Even if Bai Luo wanted to take Darkness away, he had to convert her into a follower first. But that's where the problem lies. The number of followers is limited, and it is obviously not cost-effective to use them on Darkness. So, sorry about my XP. In the absence of extra places for dependents, Bai Luo could only silently apologize to his desires. However, just because Bai Luo doesn't intend to provoke Darkness doesn't mean that the other party will ignore his existence. Just then, the girl who was talking to Luna suddenly turned her gaze to Bai Luo and Ergian. The next moment, Bai Luo and Darkness looked at each other. Forward. Bai Luo felt a little embarrassed after being caught peeping. But before he could look away, he saw a look of surprise in Darkness's eyes. Chapter 43. What's going on? Looking for me? Bai Luo doesn't remember any interactions between him and Darkness. Hello, are you Mr. Bai Luo? Darkness stood beside the table, and the two kept a polite distance. I'm Darkness, a crusader. Oh, hello. Bai Luo pretended not to know the other person and asked, excuse me, do you want to talk to me about something? Well, please allow me to join your team. Sorry, I refuse. Hey. Darkness had never expected the rejection to come so suddenly, which took her a while to react. Why? I'm a senior professional. When I saw you guys were bloody and slimy before. Ouch. What on earth happened to end up like that? When I think that I might become like that, I just... Guyi. Looking at the female knight who had a cold and arrogant expression just now, her eyes suddenly became moist and her face flushed with embarrassment. The beef on Ergui's chopsticks fell on the table with a plop. This big sister is so scary. The danger radar of the evil spirit is flashing. She looked at Bai Luo, only to see that the latter seemed to have anticipated this scene. It's Bai Luo indeed. Sure enough, her Bai Luo can always remain calm. Ergian chose to empty his mind and leave the thinking work entirely to Bai Luo. Well, calm down first. Bai Luo asked Darkness to sit down and ordered a glass of iced juice for her. Thanks. Soon, the juice was delivered to Darkness. The girl first thanked him politely, then looked at Bai Luo expectantly. I am very confident in my arm strength and endurance, but my hands and feet are not very flexible. Although my attacks can't hit the enemy at all, I'm just acting as a shield. You don't have to care about my feelings and use me as you please. It doesn't matter if it breaks. Rather, the thought of being able to use her to death made Darkness's breathing quicken, and every cell in her body trembled with excitement. Well, calm down first. Bai Luo asked Darkness to drink something and calm down. My situation is quite special. There is no shortage of forwards in the team. Ah. After being rejected again, Darkness was not discouraged but rather quite happy. But... Bai Luo thought for a while. I have to admit, Darkness is beautiful. Blonde hair, blue eyes, proud figure, and noble temperament. As long as she didn't speak and didn't show her perverted habits, the other party would perfectly hit Bai Luo's XP. And darkness is not like Aqua and Megaman. The former is too unscrupulous and may cause trouble for Bai Luo. Huai has the urge to cast explosive magic every day, and Bai Luo doesn't really want to bother dealing with her problem. Bai Luo knew a little about darkness. Darkness's real name is Dust Innes Ford Lalatina. She is the daughter of the Dust Innes family, a noble family in the ancient kingdom of Bells. Darkness lost her mother when she was still very young, and she didn't even have time to remember what her mother looked like. Because she is an only child and has no maternal love, her father Ignis dotes on her and does not control her behavior. As a result, Darkness begins to desire control and eventually becomes a hopeless masochist. In other words, what Darkness wanted was strict discipline. This is too easy for Bai Luo. Okay, I agree to your joining. Bai Luo had his own considerations for letting Darkness join the team. First of all, he had no intention of using up his follower quota to make Darkness his follower for the time being. Then, Bai Luo wanted to find out if there was a way to bring people back to the Axis world without going through the dependent contract. Darkness is obviously a good choice. As for forming a team in the Seeking world, Bai Luo has made up his mind to play the role of a level 100 martial artist here. As long as the secret does not exceed this scope, Bai Luo can expose it to Darkness without any pressure, without worrying about leaking information from other worlds. Really? Darkness never thought that Bai Luo would really accept her. She didn't think Bai Luo couldn't see her quirks. So, are you willing to teach me? No, it's okay. No matter what kind of perverted request you make, I will stick with it and show you. Bai Luo somewhat regretted agreeing to let Darkness join. This girl's words were too loud. Didn't you see that the adventurers around you were already looking over here? Hello. What's that look in your eyes? He is not some pervert who likes to bully night girls. But through this point, Bai Luo almost figured it out. There are almost no adventurers who know Darkness's XP. Apparently, this was the first time she had exposed her quirk in front of others. Even though Darkness is a fool who can't hit monsters on weekdays, her image is still very positive. Ahem, well, we are friends. Bai Luo nudged Darkness beside him, motioning her to explain. Fortunately, Darkness did not embarrass Bai Luo. She said frankly that she had joined Bai Luo's team, and then apologized to them for speaking too loudly. What? It turns out to be a game for young lovers. As expected of Bai Luo, he captured the aloof knight right away. Darkness, I hope brother Bai Luo can handle it. What? Is there any gossip? No, it's just that when I was teaming up with Darkness before, that guy was so clumsy that he couldn't hit the monster at all. After learning about the affair between Darkness and Bai Luo, there was no conflict. Everyone turned their eyes away and went about their own business. It seems that I have to make 3 rules with you first. Bai Luo, unless you agree, I won't accept your joining. Is this about to start? Do this and that and this and that to me. Darkness was getting more and more excited, but Bai Luo quickly raised his hand to interrupt her. Wait, calm down first. I promise. Darkness, as long as I can be your teammate, I'll do anything. Chapter 44. Bai Luo sighed, and looked at Ergui Yan who was already stunned beside him. Yan, don't learn from her, understand? Bo. Ergian nodded seriously. JPG. First of all, I promise to let you join the team, and I can understand your strange quirks. Strange, or something, It was a common word, but Bai Luo said it so calmly that Darkness felt like she was being treated as a bug. This forced her to be excited, and she secretly thought that her choice was indeed the right one. As long as you stay with this man, you will definitely feel more pleasure. I don't understand it, but... Never mind. Bai Luo held his forehead helplessly, and continued, first, you can only discipline yourself in bed. If you get horny with other people, I will teach you a lesson. He stopped pretending and just came clean. Since Darkness came over, Bai Luo would not let go of such a beautiful girl. However, Bai Luo is very selfish and he does not allow Darkness to estress. I understand. I will obey. This is the first time I'm telling this to someone. I've been hiding it very well before. Darkness was already well prepared. Therefore, I don't think there is anything wrong with Bai Luo saying such things so seriously. That's right. Treat her as a hopeless woman and ravage her harshly. Second. Bai Luo considered his own situation and said, Peng Peng and I usually have our own things to do, so we only stay here 2 days a week. Every 7 days, come to Siking World to relax, this is Bai Luo's plan. As for the rest of the day, you are free to move around. I only have one request, and that is that you are not allowed to reveal your true nature in front of others. Having said that, Bai Luo exuded a hint of pressure towards darkness. Suddenly, darkness felt an unimaginable pressure. Her pupils shrank slightly and the scene in front of her eyes became blurry. Bai Luo, who was originally sitting next to him, has turned from a harmless young man into a desperate abyss. Of course, this kind of pressure did not frighten darkness. On the contrary, the girl became even more excited. I can't do this in front of others. Ugh, is this possessiveness? I see. Darkness thought Bai Luo's request was reasonable. Since she wants the other party to train her, she can only recognize one master. This is different from darkness in the original work. Perhaps because Bai Luo was too strong, darkness began to accept this strange personality of being aloof on the surface but dissolute in private. Ahem. Seeing darkness lost in her imagination, Bai Luo felt depressed. I said, I have released such a strong pressure. Why are you not afraid, but you feel more and more excited? What the hell is going on? He thought that darkness's physical and magical resistance would be very high. But this terrifying mental resistance made Bai Luo overturn his previous judgment that darkness had limited potential. It's just willpower. Bai Luo felt that if darkness could go to the Axis world, there would be a high chance that she would become an awakened hero or an awakened saint. The third and final request. Our relationship only lasts in private. Normally, we are still teammates. Bai Luo didn't really want to train darkness to have star rage power. Bai Luo would not refuse this kind of thing as a fun thing. But if Bai Luo really didn't treat darkness as a human being, he wouldn't be able to do such a thing. Darkness didn't expect Bai Luo to make such a request. The restless heart is calm at this moment. Bai Luo, you are a good person. If before, darkness was still wary of Bai Luo. Even if she really approved of that kind of relationship, darkness would refuse without hesitation at the critical moment. She just likes to be taught a lesson, but she is not really promiscuous. Darkness would never give up her chastity. At this moment, darkness developed some feelings for Bai Luo. As this kind of goodwill continues to accumulate, in the end, darkness might really turn her fake play into reality and be doomed to do whatever the other party wants. Forget about the nice guy card. Bai Luo placed a pile of Eris coins on the table and called out to Arist and Darkness. Let's go. And Darkness. Bai Luo stood up and walked out of the guild with the two of them. Let's go talk somewhere else. Bo. Okay, I'm ready. The corner of Bai Luo's mouth twitched slightly. He knew without asking that this guy must have thought that he was taking her to a hotel. Forget it, as long as you like it. Bai Luo ignored Darkness's thoughts, he led the two out of the guild, and went straight to Axel's real estate agency. Here it is. Looking at the real estate agency's sign, Darkness asked, Bai Luo, are you looking to buy a house? Yeah, about the same. Bai Luo made an agreement with Darkness. Normally, they are serious teammates. Only when Darkness needs him will she call him Lord Bai Luo. Then, Bai Luo would transform into the strictest master and discipline her severely. But now is obviously not the time to do that. It's a waste to stay in a hotel all the time. Bai Luo, so I plan to buy a villa in Axel. Yes, villa. Bai Luo doesn't like ordinary houses. He has plenty of money. Even if he didn't carry out any missions and just resold materials from the Axis world, Bai Luo could still live a life rich enough to rival a country. Adventure and the like are, at best, just a hobby, like fishing. I don't really understand this aspect. Bai Luo, can you give me some advice, Darkness? No problem, leave it to me. Darkness came from a noble family and was quite familiar with these things. So, accompanied by Darkness, Bai Luo and his friends visited several properties. Finally, they decided on a villa covering several thousand square meters, with a main building, 2 side buildings, and a huge courtyard. Chapter 45. From now on, this will be our base in Axel. With this villa, Bai Luo can bring Shan and the others with him next time he comes. Bo. Peng Peng didn't quite understand, but she was happy as long as Bai Luo was happy. Darkness didn't care. She was born into a noble family, and her family's estate was many times larger than this. However, Darkness was somewhat curious about Bai Luo's identity. Such a large villa would cost at least tens of millions of eris. But Bai Luo bought it just because he said so. The fact that he didn't care about money at all made Darkness guess that he was just like her, a kid from a big family who was out experiencing life. Darkness, you can pick any room you want. Ah. Darkness wanted to say that she had a place to stay at the hotel. But isn't the current situation exactly the play session she desires the most? You can't wait to abuse my body. Darkness thought of Bai Luo's order. She looked carefully and found that there were only them and no one else around. So okay, I understand. Darkness breathed rapidly. Even if I refuse, you will definitely force me to stay here. Bai Luo and Ergui looked at each other. Fortunately, the two of them have gotten used to Darkness's strange habit. So now. Bai Luo raised his hand slowly, then dropped it suddenly. The next moment, there was a crisp slapping sound, accompanied by the girl's low moan of pain mixed with a little excitement, echoing in the courtyard of the villa. Your room is next to mine. Yes, I understand. Darkness nodded obediently, not daring to resist Bai Luo's arrangement at all. According to the rules, from now on, Darkness is Bai Luo's star fury, and the latter can do whatever he wants with her. Bai Luo would naturally not do anything excessive. The most he could do was to discipline Darkness severely, so that she would experience a whole new feeling of being bullied. Ergian didn't know how to complain. To be honest, Darkness's appearance really opened Erotic's eyes. There are still people in this world who like to be abused. I really couldn't understand it. Here, Bai Luo takes Ermion to visit the new home and gives Darkness various shameful plays. Meanwhile, at a construction site somewhere in Axel, Kazuma and Aqua, who had been working hard all day, finally finished their work of moving bricks for the day. Okay. Thank you for your hard work. That's enough for today. The foreman handed out salaries to everyone. Here, this is today's daily salary. Thanks. Thank you for your hard work, foreman. Thanks for your hard work. As the foreman announced that the work was over, Sato Kazuma and Aqua received their wages and bowed in greeting. Then everyone, we're leaving first. Oh, thank you for your hard work. I'll be counting on you tomorrow as well. Kazuma greeted the seniors, and Aqua followed suit. Listening to the voices of their predecessors, the two left the construction site. I worked all day today. Sato Kazuma could never imagine that he, who worked so hard, was actually a stay-at-home NEET not long ago. Holding the day's wages, the two headed to the town's public bathhouse. Public baths are almost the same as Japanese bathhouses. If converted based on the average salary, the bathing fee here is more expensive than in Japan, but after work, I have to take a bath, and I can't give it up even if it's a bit expensive. I'm alive again. Sato Kazuma soaked his body from the shoulders down in the hot tub, leisurely relieving his work fatigue. After all, this is a place that looks like the Middle Ages. Sato Kazuma originally thought that taking a bath in a different world should be a luxury, but it seems that this is just his one-sided prejudice. Thank you, thank you. Sato Kazuma sighed as he left the bath and walked out, just in time to see Aqua waiting for him at the entrance of the bathhouse. It may seem a bit strange to take a longer bath than girls, but Japanese people just love taking baths by nature. What do you want to eat today? Aqua had no sense of being a goddess at all and had already started to enjoy her life. I want to eat smoked lizard hamburgers and ice-cold Crimson Nero IDE. I want to eat meat, too. Kazuma, well, let's go to the guild and order 2 smoked lizard hamburger set meals. I agree. Aqua agreed with both hands. Let's also have sparkling wine. A hamburger without sparkling wine is soulless. Over the past week, the two have been working on widening the town's outer wall. That is, to be a civil engineering worker. This is far from the adventurer job that Sato Kazuma wants to pursue in this world. No, why did Aqua adapt to this kind of life without any doubts? You are a goddess after all, right? As if Aqua heard the complaints in her heart, she said as a matter of course, is there any need to say that? If you don't work, you won't have food to eat. You don't like the work? Really, hikikomori are so picky. In principle, there are still sales jobs available in shopping malls. No. That's not the case. Kazuma was speechless when Aqua said this seriously. How should I put it? What I pursue is a life of fighting monsters and exciting battles. That kind of life. Besides, where in this world has been invaded by the Demon King and is in danger. It's so peaceful, I can't even see the word demon in the name of the Demon King. This is what Sato Kazuma wants to complain about the most. Axel is so peaceful, just like the Gensokyo in a fairy tale. The two of them chatted and came to the Adventurers Guild. As soon as they entered the door, they heard loud cheers coming from inside. Long live Bai Luo! Long live sparkling wine! Bai Luo! Bai Luo! Bai Luo! Soon, Aqua learned about the current situation from others. Are there any rich people who have reserved the place? All you can drink is sparkling wine, and everyone can order a set meal. Ah! Long live! Long live Bai Luo! Aqua couldn't hold back any longer after hearing such explosive news. She immediately took out her fan and used her party magic. Flowers, birds, wind, and moon. Oh! Now, the scene became even more lively. As for why Bai Luo is giving away money again. Of course it's because I'm happy. How can we not celebrate after recruiting darkness and buying a new house? Anyway, Bai Luo has plenty of money in Seeking World. Not to mention booking the entire theater, even if Bai Luo wanted to buy out the entire Axel, he could do it easily. Chapter 46. What? Are there any other adventurers like this in the guild? Sato Kazuma was stunned. He was still carrying bricks at the construction site and had no idea how much money it would cost to charter the entire guild. But, what does that matter? Anyway, he was the one being treated. Please give me the most luxurious meal. Sato Kazuma has no moral principles at all. Whoever treats him to a meal is his godfather. Bai Luo! Bai Luo! Bai Luo! Although Sato Kazuma didn't know who Bai Luo was, it didn't stop him from shouting long live Bai Luo. As for Aqua, you can't expect ARD to remember Bai Luo's name. Moreover, Bai Luo did not stop and avoided the encounter with Aqua and the other person. In the next 2 days, Bai Luo satisfied Darkness's various perverted demands and played all the games he could. Can't I come with you? That morning, Darkness looked at the two people who had said goodbye to her temporarily, and was very curious about where they were going. Not yet. This time, Bai Luo directly met all of Darkness's needs. At least during the time that Bai Luo was away, she was able to maintain the image of a cool female knight and would no longer think about masochistic things. Well, to some extent, Darkness needed some time to digest the huge stimulation given by Bai Luo. In addition, over the past 2 days, Bai Luo and Darkness have become much closer. Suddenly hearing that Bai Luo was leaving without her, Darkness panicked. Am I going to be abandoned again? That's right. I'm useless and can't help Bai Luo at all. I'll just be a hindrance. Bang! Woo, what are you thinking about? Bai Luo flicked his finger between Darkness' brows, interrupting her gravity field. Ping Ping and I have to leave for something. How do you put it? Just say we're going to collect a debt. Collecting the money. Darkness, is it like collecting rent? Almost. Bai Luo described himself as a landlord with a large piece of land, and he would check on the situation at regular intervals. This is why he can only be an adventurer 2 days a week. I see. Darkness was not stupid and knew that Bai Luo was just trying to fool her. But, what does that matter? What Darkness wanted was Bai Luo's attitude. The fact that he was willing to explain to her meant that he had not abandoned her. They are still teammates. Darkness, you can go do your own thing these days. Bai Luo threw a bunch of keys to Darkness and said, please take care of this place for me as well. Good. Darkness nodded and watched the two of them go away. As for herself, Darkness decided to look for Chris, the human form of the goddess Eris, the thief adventurer. They are very good friends. If Darkness suggested forming a team, Chris would definitely not refuse. It just so happens that Chris, like Bai Luo, disappears every once in a while, so they can't form a team for a long time. As a result, Bai Luo left and Darkness teamed up with Chris. After Chris left, Darkness only needed to rest for a day or two before she could team up with Bai Luo again. I can go on adventures with my friends, satisfy my quirks, and have 2 days to rest. This kind of life is really great, isn't it? Are you ready? Bo. Bai Luo and Ergirong were unaware of Darkness's thoughts, and they had already used the traveler's ability to return to the Axis world. Lord Bai Luo. As soon as they returned, Shen, who sensed the two's presence, rushed in, and big sister Yo-Yo. You're finally back. Boet. Being held in Shen's arms, especially feeling the heaviness coming from above his head, Ergian looked as if he had lost all desire to live. Are you back? Shana was a step slower than Shen. Unlike the latter, she was not idle and had a lot of work to do on weekdays. Ah! Bai Luo nodded and said, did anything happen in the village during the 2 days I was away? No, the village is very peaceful. Zhu Cai reported, everyone's strength is steadily improving, and they are also implementing the expansion plan you set. Thank you for your hard work. After returning from the Seeking world, Bai Luo did not plan to rest. On the contrary, he was ready to open the door to a new world. The reason for such a long interval is mainly to consolidate Bai Luo's rapidly increasing power during this period of time. The new world is certainly curious, but Bai Luo still understands the principle of biting off more than one can chew. Introducing a new system hastily without even fully understanding Bai Luo's own strength will only make Bai Luo's future plans confusing. He needs a clear path to advancement, not just wandering around. After this period of settling down, Bai Luo felt that he had a full understanding of the power he possessed, and it was time to embark on a new adventure. Of course, due to cooling down, the next trip was scheduled for 2 days later. And this time, Bai Luo plans to travel with Shana and Shen. Traveler, cooling time 0:59, almost. On the 3rd day, Bai Luo looked at the 1-minute countdown after the skill was activated. He looked at the 2 girls and said, I plan to bring Peng Peng and the 2 of you with me this time. Really? Very good. Ziwan couldn't hide her emotions at all. When she heard that Bai Luo was going to take her with him, she jumped up with joy. With this movement, the pair of plump fruits in front of her instantly attracted Bai Luo's attention. Cough. Bai Luo coughed and looked away. Zhu Cai naturally noticed Bai Luo's gaze. This made her grit her teeth secretly and complain about Shen's body, wondering why it could be so despicable. We are all ghosts, so why is she just small and cute? Brother and Sui, aren't you going to let them come together? Shana, if there's only Shen in the new world, won't it be unsafe? Isn't there still big sister Peng Peng? Shen has become stronger, but she still respects Ergiren and regards her as Bai Luo's #1 general and her big sister. Well, in terms of age, there is actually nothing wrong with this. Yuruko has lived in the Pokemon world for hundreds of years. Judging from age alone, she might be older than Mr. Bai, so Ziwan is not wrong to call her the big sister. Ah, I have to trouble you again. Bai Luo stroked Ergui's little head, smoothed her messy hair, and put a hood on her. Ergui Li raised his hand and shouted with full energy, Li will beat all of Bai Luo's enemies away. I will also protect Master Bai Luo. Me too. Shen and Shana were not willing to be left behind and once again hugged Bai Luo's arms, one on the left and one on the right, making him feel helpless but also experiencing extraordinary enjoyment. Bai Luo's travelers cannot take people across. However, in the judgment of the traveler, the followers are not outsiders, but part of Bai Luo's power. As long as Bai Luo is willing, he can actually bring 5A level or above combat forces to explore the other world with him. Is everything ready? It's already been checked. In order to be able to travel through the world at any time, Bai Luo always keeps a large amount of supplies in his space. Well, that's good. Using the family connection, Bai Luo told Hongguan and Sui that he would be away for a while and asked them to manage the village. Yes, my lord. Please rest assured, Master Bai Luo. Sui and Benimaru responded to Bai Luo almost at the same time. They have become accustomed to Bai Luo's occasional departures. It was the same this time, some family members went out, some stayed, and everyone performed their duties. In addition, Hongguan also secretly contacted his sister Shana and asked her to take good care of Bai Luo and not let the master suffer outside. Leave it to me, brother. Zhu Cai is a thoughtful person. She takes care of not only Bai Luo, but also Ergui and Shen. She is basically Bai Luo's housekeeper and head maid. Then, as the traveler's ability was activated, the figures of the 4 people disappeared in front of Hongguan and other demons. The 4 of them just felt dazed. By the time they reacted, what came into view was the biting cold wind and the endless Arctic ice field. P.S. It will be on the shelves tomorrow, and there will be a lot of updates at that time. I beg everyone to give me a first order, please. Chapter 47. Hiss. What's going on? Where did I get this to wear? As the space fluctuated, Bai Luo felt a cold wind blowing on his face as soon as he landed. It was snowing heavily, and it seemed as if only white was left between heaven and earth. Strong winds blew up the snowflakes, forming a circle like huge white waves. In the distance, huge icebergs stand like ancient castles on the vast snowfield. They sparkle brightly under the sunlight, but the shadow of the iceberg is deep and cold, giving people a sense of mystery. Completed trip begin parsing rules, the sound of the world echoed in Bai Luo's ears. This was the first time he encountered such a situation. Rule parsing. Bai Luo knew that this time travel was not the arrival of his real body, and it was also different from the Q-jumping in Su Qing's world. It's the third category, a completely new mode of crossing. Where's Bo? Ergui looked around, holding the thorny vine stick in her hand, ready to guard against possible danger at any time. The temperature here is so low. The four of them were centered around Bai Luo, with Ergui standing in front and Shina standing behind their master. But, it's so strange, why does my body feel so light? Shin leapt lightly, and then her entire body jumped up hundreds of meters like a human on the moon. Bai Luo and others only heard a shaking under their feet. Looking at Ziwan again, the ground that the other party had stepped on had sunk, leaving behind a huge crater, and Bai Luo and the other two had also fallen into the collapsed deep pit. There is no doubt that this is the result of Shin's jump just now. What is going on in this world? Shin was also startled by the noise she made. She instantly became nervous, fearing that she would step into another big hole. Is the ground under our feet made of cookies? There's something wrong with the rules of this world. Soon, Bai Luo also discovered the problem. He bent down and picked up a frozen stone at his feet. Crack! The stone was easily broken into pieces in Bai Luo's hands. The material is too brittle. Shin. Bai Luo seemed to have thought of something, and he quickly warned, control your power, this world is much weaker than the Axis world. Every move you make could cause unimaginable damage to this world. Because there is no comparison and testing, Bai Luo is not clear about the specific gap between the two worlds. But just the ground under their feet gave them the feeling that they could be torn into pieces with just a little effort. I'll be careful. Bo. Shin and Ergian immediately became cautious. They noticed it too. The physical rules of this world are very strange. To put it simply, compared to the Axis world that was completely bathed in magic, every blade of grass and every tree here was like bubbles to Shin, bursting at the slightest poke. Shin, who has A-level strength, can even demonstrate destructive power above S-level here. Yes, S-rank, comparable to an awakened demon king. This is just a conservative estimate. In the Axis world, a full-strength attack from a special A-class was close to a nuclear explosion. At S-level, one can destroy a country with just a wave of his hand. As for the higher special S-level, it can penetrate the sky and sink the continent. It is a force that can truly affect the stability and balance of the base Axis world. Like Milim in the original work, after going berserk, she can even destroy galaxies and even the universe. Therefore, being able to destroy the Axis world is almost equivalent to having the power to destroy the reincarnated slime universe. There are special energy particles in the air. This kind of energy is far inferior to magic essence, and even worse than spirit particles. A group of A-level demons whose bodies are made up of refined magic elements. In a world where the energy level is not even that of a spirit particle, what terrible damage can be caused? Not to mention Shin, the current eruption might really be able to blow up the planet under everyone's feet. But the gap between this world and the other world is too big, isn't it? Bai Luo was really afraid that the three women would accidentally blow up the world. If this situation really happened, Bai Luo felt that he would most likely be forcibly expelled by the world's will and then blacklisted, and he would never be able to enter this world again. In short, everyone should control their own strength. Well, let's limit it to 1%, no, 1,000th. Bai Luo didn't know the specific situation of the new world, so he didn't return immediately. Instead, he took the three girls with him to wander around in this ice and snow world. All four of them have a lot of resistance and are not afraid of the severe cold. You will feel cold at first, but it is mainly because your body is adjusting. When Bai Luo needs to, he can ignore this level of low temperature. Although resistance is passive, it can also be adjusted. Otherwise, wouldn't the basic experience of hot soup, popsicles, etc. be gone? Boom. Soon after the four people walked out of the deep pit, there was movement again from the ground beneath their feet. Shin. No, it's not me, Lord Bai Luo. BB. Before Bai Luo could continue asking, a hideous head suddenly broke out from under the snow. This is a centipede that is more than 20 meters long and covered with white crystals. It exhales cold air, and its pair of violent blue eyes stare at the humans who are making such a noise. Seeing that the ice crystal centipede showed hostility towards him and others, Ergui raised his eyebrows slightly and was about to summon the thornvine stick to teach the other party a lesson. Wait a minute. Let me. Big sister Yang Yang, please leave it to me. Seeing such a big wild monster, Ziwan walked forward excitedly, looking eager to try. How could Ziwan miss this opportunity to show herself in front of Bai Luo? What then? Bai Luo didn't mind letting Ziwan take action, but I think we should try to see if we can communicate with it. Oh. 3.5 as expected of Lord Bai Luo, I understand. Shen took a step forward and shouted, hey! Can you understand what we are saying? Influenced by the rules of world voice, Bai Luo and others have no language barriers. Even if it is a being like Warcraft or a monster, as long as Shen needs it, he can convey his thoughts to the other party. We are travelers who strayed here by mistake. We have no ill intentions. After saying that, Ziwan turned to look at Bai Luo, asking if it was okay for her to say that. Can. Bai Luo gave Ziwan a thumbs up. This girl had remembered the precautions he had told her before. When you come to the new world, don't be too aggressive. They are not invaders but travelers and should maintain the most basic courtesy. Chapter 48. Squeak, squeak, squeak. However, the ice crystal centipede obviously ignored the four people's intentions, and directly launched itself into action, opening its bloody mouth to swallow the four people. Damita. This guy is simply impossible to communicate with. Collapse. So, as if instinctively, he slapped the centipede's head which was so close to him. Even though the terrifying force had been gathered and controlled in advance, it still produced an earth-shattering sonic boom. Boom. The body of the ice crystal centipede was blown away without even a moment's delay, and crashed into a glacier on one side and was completely buried. Ziwan's eyes widened immediately, her face full of panic. Well, Master Bai Luo, I have already controlled my power. All looking at Ziwan who looked like she was about to cry, Bai Luo sighed helplessly, this is none of your business, Ziwan. Shen did control the power. Otherwise, that slap just now would probably have sent the centipede flying into outer space. BB. I sigh because the natives of this world are so unfriendly. As Bai Luo finished speaking, more and more monsters rushed towards them. Tisk. This time, even the usually good-tempered Zhu Cai showed an impatient look, let me get rid of them all, never mind. After all, they were the ones who started the commotion, and Bai Luo didn't want to commit too much bloodshed in this world. Let's change places first. Bai Luo raised his hand and forcibly tore apart the time and space of this world. Bo. Seeing this, Ergui Yan hurriedly jumped up and said, the vanguard general is Yan Yanda. Let's go. Bai Luo and the two women entered the space channel one after another. After they left, a large number of strange-looking monsters appeared nearby. However, faced with an empty ice field with only desolation and ruins, they didn't know what to do. After wandering for a while, the monsters that did not find their target began to slowly disperse. Shanae, feel your surroundings. Walking out of the space channel, Bai Luo and the three women appeared in another area of the ice field. This place is hundreds of kilometers away from the initial crossing point. Yes. Zana's evolution direction is magic specialization, and she also has the widest perception range and the strongest perception among the four. Bang! The pink-haired girl put her hands together, and invisible magic power spread out in all directions with the crowd as the center. This is a vast area of ice and snow. The further north you go, the lower the temperature gets, while the south is very warm. There are many strange monsters living around here. Zhu Cai closed her eyes and told Bai Luo what she had sensed. The aura of these monsters is not very strong. The weakest is only F level, and the strongest is no more than D level. Ziwan, go and capture a few monsters. Remember, they must be captured alive. Bai Luo warned, also, pay attention to controlling your strength. If 1,000th is not enough, then use 1/10,000th. He was not worried at all that there might be anything in this world that could pose a threat to Ziwan. If a strong enemy really appeared, with the speed of Bai Luo and others, they could reach Ziwan in the blink of an eye. Leave it to me. Shen's magical perception is not as strong as Shana's, but it is not weak either. Ignoring the wind and snow that obscured her vision, Shen quickly locked onto the magical beast closest to her. They were a group of strange creatures that looked like cows and were covered with thick fur. When they saw the sudden appearance of Ziwan, the yak-like beasts were greatly frightened and fled away in a mighty manner. There was no way, the aura on Ziwan was too terrifying. No matter how much she restrained herself, the oppressive feeling from the upper demon caused great shock to these yak monsters. I choose you. Xiuan picked a yak monster at random. She did not use the specially made large sword, but instead put her fingers together to form a sword. Shua the girl's figure disappeared from the spot. When he appeared again, he was already in front of a yak. Bun! The white and delicate palm fell down on the yak's head with unstoppable power and stayed on top of it. The next moment, the wind pressure generated by the hand knife turned into an invisible giant hammer, hitting the yak's head hard, knocking it unconscious instantly. Associated with this is a huge pit of more than 10 meters in diameter under the yak. Oh no, I used too much strength. Ziwan stepped forward anxiously. Luckily, fortunately, he's still alive. Phew, I was so scared, I thought he was beaten to death. Normally, after enduring such a horrific blow that even the earth was shattered into pieces, the yak should have turned into a pile of minced meat long ago. However, Shen used the force-generating techniques from Bai Luo's melee profession in her attack. Just like shooting a bull from a distance, most of the force does not actually act on the yak. Of course, this was still the result of Shen holding back. If she were really allowed to let go, this single attack with her sword would probably cause the ice field within a radius of dozens of kilometers to be destroyed like a nuclear explosion. Master Bai Luo, do you think this is okay? Shen brought the yak monster across space and appeared in front of Bai Luo and Zhu Cai. Well, let me see. Bai Luo carefully looked at the ice blue yak that Ziwan brought back. It's a strange creature, it contains an energy similar to magic but at a very low concentration. If we use the number of spirit particles as an analogy, the magic of the base axis world probably contains more than 5 million spirit particles at each point. However, the energy in this monster's body is only about 100 per unit, which is almost a difference of 50,000 times. Such a weak world, can it really have the power that Lord Bai Luo needs? Ziwan couldn't understand. In her opinion, there was nothing here that could make Bai Luo stronger, so there was no need to continue wasting time. Don't be too anxious, Shen. Zhu Cai said, what Lord Bai Luo needs is a completely new way of thinking. 50,000 strong or weak has nothing to do with it. The Pokemon world is also not strong in our eyes. But Lord Igui is now more powerful than us. Zhu Cai, although the individuals in this world are weak, we cannot guarantee that there are no strong ones here. Shanae is right, Bai Luo praised, the power system of the weak may not be without merit. Although the monsters in the Axis world are strong, they start too high, making it difficult for us to perfectly control our power. Being weak has its advantages, that is, there is a high probability that these worlds will give birth to some technologies that are unimaginable to the monsters in the Axis world. Chapter 49. I see. Xiuan nodded obediently and looked at the yak on the ground. Do you need me to help you wake it up? Wake it up. Soul searching will have a significant impact on living things. Yes. Xiuan controlled her aura, condensed it into a point, and suddenly enveloped the yak. Moo. The sudden impact instantly woke up the unconscious yak. This guy quickly stood up and was about to run away, but after seeing Ziwan, Bai Luo and others, he just stood there in a daze, looking scared. Hey! So it's not a wild beast, but an intelligent creature that can communicate. Bai Luo tried to communicate with the yaks, but the results were not satisfactory. There is wisdom, but not much. Yaks are not monsters that cannot communicate, but normal creatures with minds. This is fundamentally different from the monsters in the Jura Forest. Warcraft only has the instinct to survive and cannot develop intelligence. They were born from magic infection, not naturally bred. Even if they were all killed, new 1,747 bodies would be born in the forest after a while. Rule parsing completed. Traveler, exceptional, has made corrections to this world connection successful. Individual name Bai Luo expression has been balanced. The individual names Shanae, Shen, Ergui have been corrected. Correction successful, expressive balance completed. Finally the analysis is complete. Hey! Master Bai Luo, why did my strength suddenly become so much weaker? Me too. The three women discovered changes in themselves. Don't worry, this is the restriction imposed on us by the world's rules. Bai Luo told Shana and Shen about the settings of the traveler and the balance force. This was not the first time that Ergui Yan had traveled through time, and he seemed quite calm. as long as you don't use power beyond your ability to express yourself, nothing will happen. What happens if it exceeds the limit? Shin felt a little uncomfortable. I feel like my power is not sealed and I can still use it. Don't want. Ergui Yan quickly reminded, if you use power beyond the specification, Xiuan, you will be forcibly driven out. Kick out. It means returning to the base Axis world. Ergian is an experienced person, and he carefully explained the current situation to the younger generation. We are one, if you are driven out, we will all be driven out and it will be difficult for us to return to this world. Hey! Yes, is that so? This time, Ziwan didn't dare to make any big moves. Even when speaking, the ghost girl became cautious. Haha, it's not that exaggerated. Bai Luo added, what said is indeed correct, but this time, the four of us are not bound together. Even if they are really driven back, it will only be for one person, and no one will be implicated together. Is that so? Ergui looked at Bai Luo in confusion, not quite understanding the difference. Let me explain it to you. Bai Luo gently stroked Ergui's head and continued, my traveler ability can open the door to different worlds. After the gate opens, we will travel through time, and the voice of the world will assign corresponding identities to us. Simply put, there are 3 ways to travel through time like this. Bai Luo has now opened a total of 3 doors to other worlds. In the Pokemon world, Bai Luo also received a similar prompt, but the reply from the voice of the world at that time was the high will of the current universe has tacitly approved the work. According to Bai Luo's understanding of the Pokemon world, the supreme will here should refer to the true body of the god of creation Arceus, Sebk, Sinnoh Great Lord. There are countless parallel universes in the Pokemon world, and Bai Luo just entered one of them. With Sinnoh's size, as long as Bai Luo is not preparing to destroy the world and is just an ordinary trainer, he won't care. Isn't that dangerous? Shin and Shana didn't quite understand what the supreme will and the god of creation were, but they knew as soon as they heard about them that they were very powerful and someone they couldn't afford to mess with. Don't worry, the voice of the world is not stupid. If they really encountered a very dangerous world, the voice of the world would have failed in the negotiation stage and naturally would not be able to open the door for Bai Luo. In other words, the voice of the world will first sign an agreement with the supreme will of the other world that both parties must abide by. Then, while ensuring Bai Luo's safety and freedom, the 2 worlds will be connected together. That's why when Pony and I go to the Pokemon world, we can't take you with us. The first type of world is managed by people, and Bai Luo cannot bring in any extra creatures like he did with Ergian, a resident of the original world. Moreover, Bai Luo enters the Pokemon world directly with his main body. Apart from Bai Luo, only the native Ergui Luo can pass. Therefore, except for the first time at the beginning, Bai Luo would basically choose Sucking World when purchasing supplies. There's no way, there's a Sinnoh Lord staring at me overhead, it's really scary. The second is to intervene like Aqua, in accordance with the rules of that world. Bai Luo said, for example, if I become the reincarnation that Aqua is responsible for, in the cognition of the world's will, I am part of the rules, which is reasonable. That's why Peng Peng said that she made a mistake and that I would be kicked out as well. Because in the second way of crossing, I am the only one who is truly recognized by the world, and came as my summoned beast. Peng Peng broke the rules, and since she was part of Bai Luo's power, she would naturally be implicated. But this world is different. Bai Luo added, in this world, there is no so-called supreme will. There are rules here as well, but the ones who manage the rules are not some powerful gods, but something like a program. So it's not just me, the 3 of you now have your own independent identities. The family relationship still exists, but there are 3 more ID cards, allowing them to move freely like Bai Luo. The only thing you need to note is that your power has also been balanced. The balance here refers to expressiveness. In the Axis world, the A-level demons can cut off rivers, shatter the earth, and deliver a blow comparable to a nuclear bomb. The 3 of them, in this world today, have almost fallen to this level. Chapter 50. Try and see if the ice is as hard as it is here. Bai Luo picked up another piece of ice rock from the ground. The original fragility had disappeared. When he pinched it, it was exactly the same as the base Axis world. Really? Tisk, it actually became weaker. The rules of this world are really unpleasant. Unlike Shana's joy, Shan crossed her arms, feeling quite dissatisfied with the restrictions of the rules. It wasn't that she felt uncomfortable. Instead, he was very angry that his master was put in restraints. If possible, Ziwan even wanted to conquer this world. By the way, what would happen if Lord Bai Luo became the ruler of this world? Well, if I become the master of the new world, the Axis world will benefit from it and become even larger. So, it's a win-win situation. The Axis world benefits, and Bai Luo will become more powerful. Okay, let's take a look at the specific information of this monster first. Bai Luo then went to identify the yak. Iceland yak type, alien monster lifespan, 1208 years grade, F performance, D innate abilities, cold resistance, ice eating, ice element manipulation, brute force. What the hell? This cow is over 1200 years old. This is 1200 years old. Identification skills are not omniscient. The same is true for Dragon's Eye. The identification results are based on Bai Luo's understanding of the world. Of course, things like the basic energy level and what special abilities the opponent possesses can be seen directly through the appraisal. However, when seeing the yak's age of more than 1200 years, even Bai Luo couldn't help but exclaim. Isn't it funny? A monster that can live for 1200 years has a combat performance of only D. This is still the D level in the current world. F level magic element, D level expressive power. The F grade here refers to how this monster would be rated if it were placed in the base Axis world. How to say it? It's just like the goblins in the forest, even the children in the Axis world can't compare to them. As for D rank, it is roughly equivalent to a team of fully armed adventurers. I can't understand it. Zhu Cai and others also had the ability to identify, so they checked the properties of the yaks. Soon, the three women were also shocked by the lifespan of the yak. If you live for 1200 years, even if you are a pig, you should be a spirit, right? But why? Why is this cow so tall? This is unreasonable, totally unreasonable. Bai Luo murmured, no matter which world you are in, lifespan is related to the level of life. The higher the level of life, the longer the lifespan, but this demon beast is completely contrary to this theory. And 1200 years is not even the limit of its lifespan. Imagine buying a monster with an almost infinite lifespan. Why? Why can't it live forever? Its existence itself is so unreasonable. Wait a minute, Shen, did you just say that there are still many of these cows? Yes, there are a lot of them, hundreds of them. Do you want me to catch them all? Take me to see it. Following Ziwan, it didn't take long for everyone to find the yaks. Along the way, Bai Luo cast identification on many creatures, and the results he obtained were all similar to those of the original yak. Bai Luo searched his memory for settings similar to this world, ice and snow, strange monsters, almost infinite lifespan, but combat power is completely incomparable to the long lifespan. Doluo continent. Bai Luo thought to himself, soul beasts that are thousands or tens of thousands of years old are actually very weak in combat. In other worlds, animals that have practiced for tens of thousands of years have at least become demon kings who can move mountains and fill the sea. In the Doluo world, 10,000-year-old soul beasts are rivaled by human soul kings. As for the soul king's performance, how to say it? He can be easily shot to death by a crossbow, and at best he is just a second-rate master in martial arts novels. It just so happens that the performance of a D-level warrior is about the same as that of a second-rate warrior. After practicing for 10,000 years, you are only at the second-rate level in the martial arts world. Bai Luo felt more and more that this world was like Doluo continent. In order to prove his guess, Bai Luo directly killed a tiger-like monster that appeared out of nowhere and was their first prey. Really? Looking at the purple energy ring floating from the body of the demon beast, Bai Luo affirmed, soul rings are born after the soul beast dies. This is the world of Doluo continent. If it is Doluo continent, then it is reasonable that the purity of spiritual energy is extremely low. Bai Luo remembered that the physical rules of Doluo continent were very strange, and there was even a saying that it was infuriating. Of course, the hydrogen man is definitely exaggerating. But it is also true that the intensity is not high. Doluo continent is covered with ice and snow, so this is the far north. I just don't know what time period it is now. Is it the Tang San period in Doluo Doluo 1, Doluo Doluo 2, Doluo Doluo 3, or a transitional period that is not described in the novel? If possible, Bai Luo naturally hopes it will be during the Do 1 period. After all, since Tang San became a god, Doluo continent has become Tang family continent. Bai Luo doesn't want to have anything to do with the so-called pure and innocent Buddha of Tang dynasty. Let's ask someone first. Coincidentally, in Bai Luo's perception, a human presence appeared in the north. Shanae. Yes. Zhu Cai has completely analyzed the space of this planet. The girl raised her jade hand lightly and instantly teleported the 4 people to the vicinity of the nearest human breath sensed by Bai Luo. Drew. In the wind and snow, an old man was walking towards the warm south at a very fast speed. His hair and beard were all white, and he looked to be in his 70s. He was wearing a thick silver-grey military uniform and looked exhausted. The old man was holding a strange metal prop in his hand. There was an ice blue energy stirring inside it, as if trying to break through the blockade of this thing. Who? Noticing someone in front of him, the old man stopped immediately and a solemn look appeared on his face. Don't be nervous, old man. Bai Luo took a step forward and tried to keep his tone as gentle as possible. We are adventurers who came to explore the far north. May I ask you a few questions, old man? The white-haired old man stopped and looked up in surprise at Bai Luo and others who suddenly appeared. He didn't say anything, just stared at the white road silently. There was a faint golden blue light flowing in the old man's eyes, which surprised Bai Luo. Bai Luo discovered that there was an energy in the old man's body that was different from soul power. If soul power is low concentration magic power composed of a small amount of spirit particles, then the quality of this energy is no weaker than normal magic power. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.